Yeah, I don't care about people's feelings though, because they were hurt. They were dissing people's feelings a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't know. It's really us that, I think it's a lot of projection. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll never find a clip of me saying, if you don't have refinement though in your mathematics though, you're just a savage, a wild savage. Like a wild Thor in the wilderness. You know what I mean? Just checking shit. Like, I never said that. There's no record of that.
Yeah. No, indeed.
Yeah, because look, I've been here at this school teaching this long. Imagine if I dealt with people's feelings. Holy shit. What the fuck? No, shit, I'd really be here a long time though, so.
Right.
Fuck that. Fuck everybody's
Okay, well, it's really just me at the end of the day, God. Nobody told me.
Oh no, that's peace, God. Yeah.
Do something like that.
No, what you're saying, if you're saying it, then
that's just my understanding, because if it was me, I would kind of clarify in case anybody thought I was disrespecting firstborn Sham God. That's not what I was doing.
No, I see that. Yeah, I see that. I agree. I agree, because you could always use more clarity, because when there were a lot of issues we hit on, and some of them just were kind of ignored. That's what happens, Even though I thought the video was definitive, That's what happens.
Right. Me personally, I don't worship my firstborns, but I'm not trying to normalize disrespecting firstborns or making it seem like they're senile or they didn't know what they were doing or you know what I mean, or anything like that. I feel like there should at least be some respect level for these brothers that came before us. You know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for the sake of clarity, and because I love that subject. I'm a writer, so I teach a lot of writing in the class, though. So I always go into plus lessons and the concepts of it, and because remember, a lot of people don't know. For years, plus lessons were very frowned upon, even as people quoted plus lessons exactly word for word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's how I kind of want to open up our build. You know what I mean? That video basically sparked a lot of attention and caused. It was a bit controversial, and I'm not necessarily trying to cause controversy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not, and I'm not. Again, I'm not the aggressor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're the aggressor. I don't think we are the aggressor.
Right.
And I just want to know.
Yeah, you're just defending your stance, I guess.
Peace to everybody who teaches this culture, and peace to everybody who effectively teaches this culture. You know what I'm saying? And I can just leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's it. You teach it and you're effective in your teachings, and peace.
It's like you said, we're all teaching that the original man is God.
Bottom line.
You know what I mean? So sometimes it really gets out of hand. You know what I'm saying? And I tried to have. A lot of people think that they know the history of certain things or what's happened, and they know the history of the nation, though, but they don't know the history of this century at this school, and that's why I was able to make this build. But in that process, people were going to have to be offended because I disagreed not with people having refinement or not. That has nothing to do with the issue. People really, really know what I teach here, right? They know that I teach an entire history. How refinement came to be, what is the disagreements with it, what do I expect out of it? Because one of the expectations is that you do not use it as a mere synonym of culturing, right? And also the use of the word in various ways. So as I described this, the way I build it as focus, because all power is focused. Just like the Father didn't just blare out. He wasn't like X-Men Cyclops just blaring out. He was very focused with who he taught. You know what I mean? He actually never took a pulpit. There was no record of that. So the concept of refinement being used is like your power is a truth, but it is a truth that begins with the knowledge, not with power. Power, to me, is not the truth. And when I challenge people on that, they get offended, but it's really to give a better, force them into a better build instead of giving me the, it is so, and so it shall be. Like if I'm in Lord of the Rings here, you know what I'm saying? So, I was challenged to all my understandings. I was challenged for every angle. And again, if you teach the populace for as long as I have, and what people don't have that I have, is that I've taught this long at the school, and I don't get to pick my students. I can filter them out, but I don't get to pick who comes in the classroom. So that means that I get exposed to forms of questioning for a longer period of time that most people were not. You know, so that means that I have to answer questions that I, in my own mind, could be in my own mindset. It is so, it shall be. But for those that come in, it won't be like that. The majority of 5%ers are teaching people that they are alike to, something that they see in individuals. In fact, that was the style of student gathering that the father had. He found people that he could teach and then expressed it to them. It was a one-on-one relationship. I very rarely have that opportunity. So it's totally different. So, you know, in saying all that, in this discourse, in the reactions, where have people actually given me something else to describe them not having refinement other than it is so and so it shall be, or power is the truth, while proving that only power is the truth and not knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, equality, God, certainly, build, or born. You know what I mean? Or all of supreme mathematics. So it becomes more of a hyperbole that, you know, is it really delved in too much? And isn't that the philosophical pursuit? The philosophical pursuit is for us to say, wait a minute, we say power is the truth, but why is it so? You know what I mean? Why are we just saying it that way? You know? And this isn't something that should be a challenge upon my age group or younger. This is demanded because I had this discourse with Infinite Al-Jamar many times.
Right.
And he didn't, it wasn't like at the end of the day he was putting refinement into his lesson, but we taught, I keep reminding people of that year that we taught together in the Peace Course, just not officially like we were saying, we're going to do this together. He just was always around consistently, and we did it for a whole year where we just, he would latch on to whatever I brought as the main lessons and curriculum of the day. You know what I mean? And so he supplemented what I was doing immaculately. And it was one of the greatest teaching experiences because it was such a great learning experience for me. And, you know, when you do it like that, God, like, all this other discourse where people just double down on August 5th, you know, or every continuing 5th day and say, they don't really know, but I don't mean to mention any particular individual. That's a sloppy scholarly discourse. The best scholarly discourse is to find me and DM me or contact me and say, listen, what is it that, here is my proofs why I think refinement shouldn't be in there. But again, people still take out the crumbled sham God lesson and give it to me, which I find very unworthy. I think Sham God was a genius, though. That was not Sham God's only writing. I am very critical of all the plus lessons because I know. I spoke to Firstborn Al-Jamel, Firstborn Prince, Dumar Wadi, Infinite Al-Jamar. I'm mentioning everybody, Jai Key, everyone that had writings that we could consider seminal, meaning that we would keep them and repeat reading them every now and then, right? Son of Man had things you'd strip out, keep, because this is a keeper here. It's not like just a letter from jail, right? Kaleem as well. They all, very few of them were edited. They were not edited. So what do I mean by edited? Because people don't really understand what that means. I mean, either someone else peer reviewed it. Like in this case, another God said, oh, but you wrote this. I don't know if I see that understanding. You know, when I wrote stuff, Saving Knowledge was making, I told Savior Knowledge, when he was teaching me how to teach at the school, and he's from Seattle, I was showing him certain curriculums I had and certain little lessons that I was writing, small lessons for the classroom about mathematics and other things and things like that. And I would have to show it to him. So a lot of the plus lessons I took on a different note because they were literally peer reviewed. I had to have someone look at it and see who it was. When Al Jamel, near the end of his life, wanted to teach here, he actually came to me to help him write a curriculum for the class that he wanted. He never got the chance to do it though. His health was deteriorating. You know what I mean? But in this age though, around the 2000s, 2010 to late 2000s, a lot of the gods, elders and younger, wanted to test their plus lessons and see if it was worthy with other gods before they share it. That's the way we were being taught, so that way we could do this culture again of plus lessons, you know? So when I say that the older plus lessons weren't really done like that, they weren't. They were not done like that. You know what I mean? They had agreements and disagreements, but the way that they did it was, if it's not right and exact enough, then we will stop circulating it. But if it's near correct, remember they were like the 120 lessons. They respected the written page to be near correct, not right and exact. So if the plus lesson was near correct, then they would leave it that way. You know what I mean? So saying that the Sham God plus lesson that mentioned the power refinement, disagreement, that doesn't mean that I'm dissing him. It means that there are parts of it that I find disagreeable and that people latch onto and are amplifying to connotate that if we have refinement or use it or overuse it, I don't know what that means, but overuse it, that we will make our kids gay or even change the sex of the child to a female inside the womb. And when I say that is actually not proven to be true, you know, like literally, what sorcery is this? Then people get on me about, well, he's not being respectful to Sham God and this and that. Listen, like everybody here, right? I spent years, we have spent, if we add them up, right? I think a lot of us could say that we spent maybe months of time debating, figuring out which flag was right and exact. So don't tell me that I don't care about what Sham God created. You know what I mean? Because we all spent a lot of time saying, which flag is this? We had whole wars with Wakil and A-Team and all of them with what they were saying was the truth about it and saying you weren't even here. So, you know, like, again, people, they say a lot of stuff.
Well, you know what? I say that because what is the phenomenon called when people zero in on one thing that you say, right? And because what you just built on is filled with a lot of good points, but they just skip all of that and just go to what triggers them.
Right. Yeah, they go to what triggers them, and that's okay actually. But they didn't really listen to all that was triggering. They didn't see everything. They didn't listen carefully. You know what I mean? And again, like I say, listen, the video, my vitriol, there was vitriol in the video.
So you a little hot-blooded?
Right. It was directed to one individual, and that one individual knows exactly why. You know what I'm saying? They know exactly why that vitriol and hot-bloodedness was directed toward them. But it's not directed toward anyone that has any disagreement. It's not directed to anyone that is, honestly, anyone that's younger than me, anyone that just got this, anyone that didn't meet any firstborn. You're not in this discussion for me. Anyone that wasn't with the Father, you're not in this discussion with me. You know what I mean? This is not a discussion. This is for them to listen. Just like when power refinement was being argued, and I would be out there and I would see freedom, right? Papa Wu, I would see freedom arguing with Umala and Infinite Aljamar, because you know they weren't so friendly all the time. Right? They had lots of discourse, right? I didn't put my 2 cents in there. I said, listen, I have what I have, but I can learn a lot though if I was being quiet. And if you ask any elder that's still alive, they'll tell you that I'm the quietest student. right? That I was the quiet student. People see me talk so much here, they forget. And they not that they forget, but they don't know how silent I was, you know? And that all they heard was my questions, and all they got from me was my assignments, you know? So that's all I have to say about that, you know what I mean? Anything else is all personal. They either don't like my album or something else, you know? Or I'm too light-skinned, or I have too much polo on, you know? But I'm sorry, I don't wear USPA. I don't wear that. I don't wear Beverly Hills Polo Club, you know what I mean? And I this is what I picked. This is not, I picked this corporate. You know, people are, that's something I wanted to touch on too, God, you know, briefly, about the whole low lives and all that kind of stuff. I discount most of the arguments I get because it's really colorism in a different guise when it's on YouTube. It's clearly, they have so much issues. I know that they have relatives and they probably have siblings that are as light as me. Let's be honest, you know what I'm saying? So stop all that nonsense, right? Just like I have relatives that are as dark as INFMEGA. You know what I mean? Like, they need to stop all that, right? But what's interesting is that people don't know, because some of the students didn't know the story, so I keep getting new students. So the reason I don't find any problem with wearing lots of Polo Ralph Lauren as a clothing. Now let's start from the most minuscule, most frivolous point. Because I started wearing this and saying, listen, I'll wear it more because it's hip hop, but I was able to go to corporate jobs dressed with this too. I was like, yo, for my money, I was able to go everywhere with the same clothes. So I could go to a public school dressed like this, and then I could go to the hip hop concert dressed like this. You know, it's not like before I was like, man, I'm gonna have to change up this bougie clothing here, you know what I mean? But the bougie clothing worked on both sides. It's just the history of Polo and the low lives. But I was offered to be a low life, to be inducted into low lives, not by any low life that wasn't a 5%er. It was a 5%er, Rakim Supreme Shabazallah, known as the original Rudy Lowe, in Brownsville. So he was the one that was in my class for a long time, observing, adding on, and we would build. And he saw what I was doing in the community and hip hop and all that. And he said, look, listen, you would be great for Low Lives because they're an organization that's working to make music and be known as a hip hop organization and a communal organization. And I said, yes, that's true, because I've interviewed so many and that's what they do. During that time, which is like 2 or 3 years, I eventually, in 2015, doing so much stuff with them, Thurston Hound, one of the founders, Thurston Hound III, starts calling me Skill Illustrator Low as a nickname, an honorary nickname, because of my work, you know what I mean? So none of this is really...
I meant to ask you, Skill in what sense? Like, what sense?
Oh, okay, let me give you the history of that, because that has a 5%er history in there too. When the Thurston House started rhyming, there was a god named B-Born, a dancer that danced with the IBM dancers. He would dance with Nice and Smooth and others, right?
Yeah.
He called Thurston Howe the Skillionaire because he had so much skill, like he's a millionaire of skill, skillionaire. And then it became a thing where Thurston Howe would flip it, skillosopher, skill this, skill that, right? So the skill thing. Thurston Howe called me because I'm a writer. He said, it was actually at Sean Price's wake, right? And Spit Gems and others were really being nice, and they were describing me to somebody else, saying I'm not a regular writer. And Thurston Howe busted through and he said, he's not a writer, he's the Skill Illustrator. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna honor that, and I'll be AKA Skill Illustrator Low. But I wasn't low yet, so I was Skill Illustrator. But then Rakim was like, yo, you gotta be in this though, you do too much work, this and that. So I said, okay, I guess I wear enough polo now, you know what I mean? And so I figured, so I learned to get all the polo head to toe because I wanted to wear a unique style. I didn't want to wear old pieces that I never was around for and couldn't really afford like that. So I just try to make a style that reflects the way I dress, you know what I mean? Big open shirt, whatever, you know what I mean? So I got all that style accumulated, and I went to Glow Goose on a Deuce, one of the events, and I presented myself and that's how I got my L's from Rakim Supreme Shabazz. And that's it. So I represent myself as someone in hip hop that is also affiliated with that. And I'm not even close to being the only God that is a lowlife. There's many gods.
I think there's a misunderstanding of that community.
Yeah.
There's a misunderstanding of like, cause they're known for boosting
right
originally,
yeah.
but they have since grown.
And see, one of the things that I love about that is that the boosting is frowned upon. It's like, yo, that's not what we're doing. If you do that, keep that away from the things that we're doing and being known as lowlife. So now, now. You know what I mean? So there's always going to be boosters. Just like there's people with knowledge and stuff that are still criminals. You know what I'm saying? That still do things that.
That were boosted.
Yeah. So.
There's like a story where they went to go boost to get a lot out of jail. They had to go boost some money to get them out of battle or something like that. Travel to go see him, or there's like stories in the Sunez about that. God's going and boosted.
Well, let me tell you something. Wise Jamel, who used to teach the mathematical buildup, he taught Wednesday for many years. So we used to always talk about teaching, and he got his. He always used to tell me that his biggest regret was he didn't get to get his universal flag, because he was going to get it from the Father himself, because he was illiterate. So he quoted 120 day by day, getting it, and then he would just put it from short-term to long-term memory and come back for another degree the next day. The day was that he was supposed to go to the school and get his flag from the Father, and directly he went boosting, because he's broke. So he was like, you know what, he'll still be there, but he never got the chance to get it from the Father. You know what I mean? And that was his biggest regret. So people were really and the early lowlives, that was their story. They really were boosting because it was a seasonal clothing, so they had stuff to sell all year round when they would boost it. So they only started to wear it because they got so good at stealing it that they could wear it now too. So that's where, and then it became an ego thing because it's really great clothes, and now, they became addicted to thieving, which is a thing. It's a thing. But I got put into it not to steal, not to boost or anything. All my history of stealing has to do with music and albums. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with anything else. That's it. Cassettes and CDs. You know what I mean? But
Radio Shack or where's
everywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
I even had my own price tags. Like if I was tired, I would just switch price tags in local mom and pop stores, and I would be able to buy stuff for like $2.99. Oh, that's a discount price. Yeah, look, it says $2.99. And I would get away with that, But I was addicted to hearing music, and I said it like past tense, but I am addicted to hearing everything. But but now it's all legal. You know what I mean? And so the thing is that as a teacher at this school, all I can say is that I present myself professionally at all times. People don't realize that I really try to have a professional look here. You know what I mean? Whether I'm wearing a suit or whether a proper shirt and tie. I never even wear a coat when I'm in the classroom, and that this school can get that cold. But I never want to make it feel like I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying? So I would freeze and stand up and move a lot though. For years and years, when this school absolutely had no heating, there was no heat in the school. For years, this building had no heat. So, it's funny that people will tell me what my commitment is or anything like that when they don't even know the years and what happened in those years, But with the lowlives, it's a positive organization, There are gods like the God Lifer that does book bag drives and school drives. You know what I mean? So among many things that the God does. I'm just naming small bits. Rack Lowe, who is not a 5%er, gets paid to do events, and a lot of those are funded by Ralph Lauren and Polo himself. So he sets the bar by showing a fashion and showing us how to wear the fashion and things like that. You know what I mean? Thurston Howell as well. When we had the Body by Nature event, it wasn't a Nazi-like event for Boricuas. You know what I mean? The main call that we had throughout the night was black was literally like the Big Pun song. It was black people. The Puerto Rico Ho song was like black people ho, Puerto Rico ho, unidos, united ho, and the whole event wasn't about naming the Puerto Rican pioneers that we know about. It was about, we don't care about all that. We're here and it's a united thing. We didn't even do any of that. There was no segment for that. You know, so like, these are the things that the Low Lives is doing, and I'm honored and proud to be part of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm honored that I'm part of a clique that knows how to dress and has taught me how to dress better. I'm proud of being part of a clique that has shown a manly way of dressing in a time where it's trans real. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of being recognized for what I've done in hip hop, and that earned me those L's. You know what I mean? I didn't boost anything or anything like that. And I don't frown upon anyone that was doing that, because the people I met, they were literally surviving with that. Just because you look fly doesn't mean that you're not struggling to survive, you know? And the themes of love and loyalty, the 2 L's up is love and loyalty. And I've heard some of the most profound concepts about love and loyalty from Low Lives that match a lot of the things I've learned from the gods and the earths. You know what I mean? So it's been a learning experience as well. You know, and I just want to say that because people try to harp, they always try to find something that's wrong. Say that again, man.
That's how I see it. And my brothers, you know, was trying to attack me, you know,
Right.
as it comes with the Polo. And I always say, yeah, the love is high as understanding. That's their motto, love and loyalty. You know, that coincides with our teachings, you know. So
Well, there's something baked into the 5% in terms of like nitpicking. Like, us as a nation, we have this thing like, you know, well, examination. So that's what the 5% does, right? But then, is it a fine line between examination and nitpicking?
Yeah. I mean, I've been examined for why I'm wearing the Polo when people are wearing like full body Nike suits or Nazi Adidas and Nazi Puma outfits, and I'm like, yo, you know, I don't really get mad.
They call it not.
No, I call it that. The founders, the founders of Adidas and Puma were two. The founders of Adidas were two brothers that were Nazis, and they actually supported the Nazis, so their business thrived. Eventually, one of the brothers though was mad at the other brother and snitched on him to get him in trouble, even though real snitching because they were both in on it. That he's for the Nazis. The brother that snitched went and started Puma. And these companies are thriving, and not Adidas and Puma got nice stuff. You see me training, I have an Adidas jersey, so. But what I'm saying is like, yo, you're telling me about local Bronx Jewish man, Ralph Lifshitz, but you're the founder of some of the clothes you know, that's what you're wearing. Or people will say, what about buy black, this and that? I buy original all the time. You know what I'm saying? My whole career is about original people. You know what I'm saying? If people really do the knowledge to my career, how much did I make people's careers better versus to how I made them worse? Everyone that I've ever written about has done better, not worse. You know? So I put a lot of money in people's pockets that I didn't get money for. You know, 97% of the reviews I've written in my career, I did not get paid for. You know? So, you know, I won't hear any of that. You know what I mean? But it's important, and I'm only saying this to be honorable to the low lives that have done so much. And it's a learning thing. I learned from them, and they've learned from myself. And it's been a wonderful experience, you know? But people like to harp on what people are doing. And wouldn't it be nice if people harped on what I was doing by telling me what their community service was? Right? You know, instead of being such an aggressive keyboard killer, you know what I mean? And, you know, they're not. They're just very anonymous, though, and say what they would like to have, but years go by, and they have nothing to show for it, you know? And it's sad. If I was doing it so wrong, what side of the street are you on, and how are they doing there, you know? But,
Yeah, I think like
the low is gonna only get more crispy. You know what I mean?
The larger part, because there's like that, you know, I like to say there's many layers to this, right? There's many layers to it, but you know the aspect of, you know.
You should record that though, just so they can record.
Oh
yeah, Born King, he been recording.
Born King, you're late, man. The camera's on record, but you know, the layers of like, yeah, there's people, the low lives with people who once stole, and then get into the layer of we should be doing our own, and then the layer of, well, what are you doing? Like,
right.
In terms of like, what are you doing in the community, or you know, people want to, I guess you saying that you God now, then where is your own structure? You're wearing this white man, you know, Ralph Lifshitz, right? And I was like, you're wearing this man, and you know, we should be having our own. Well, then, you know, that just means that there's a lot of work to be done, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of work to be done.
You know, absolutely.
Hey, man, Ralph Lauren supported like one of the first original black men. Was it Tyson?
Yeah, Tyson Beckford. That's right.
He was the first to be like his poster boy.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
No, it was the first. He was the first. He wasn't the first black model though. He wasn't.
No, he wasn't the first black model, but for a designer like that, he was like the first to do that. You know what I mean? He was a jet black seed. You know, for him to go, not get no light skinned guy, but get like a black seed like Tyson Beckford and put him on like. I thought that was a good look. You know, I don't know about time.
Yeah, I know people in the comments gonna come for you for that one, man.
You know what too? If people want more, there's a Ralph Lauren, Very Ralph. That's the name of the documentary about Ralph Lauren. That's on HBO, and I don't know if it's still there, but it was done by HBO. And there's a whole segment about the low lives. So he actually gave a segment for Thurston and others to actually describe their experience and what they were doing. And he gave them 100% credit for increasing the brand and saving the brand in many respects. So, you know, like, it's not, it really became not just a take relationship, you know what I mean? There was some giving. Nothing's perfect, nothing's ideal, you know what I'm saying? If I look at the back of my garments though, I know that there's a lot of the garments, because they're all made in different places, but there's a lot of countries that Ralph Lauren garments are made in places I wish they weren't made, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I'm a vegan though, so I don't like smelling like a chicken for about 2 months when I get my new goose. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know? So there's a lot of things that could be improved, right? You know, to me, I don't think you could do something different than goose feathers. But these are things I've actually written too, to other companies. It's not like other companies are listening to me either. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I don't, you know, but
well, that's, I mean,
that's really, that's all in a nutshell, you know.
How do we like say like what are some of the companies that within the 5%, like let's say like the Shabazz brothers, right? And maybe like to how do you think that a brand like that could be built into?
I think a lot of the gods that make clothes, like the God Divine, that he makes a lot of clothes.
Divine Graphics.
Yeah, Divine Graphics, Piece of the God, right? The clothes are still made for like urban. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's say for myself, I could use workout gear like that, but I can't really do much else with it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Right? So, you know, I'm just saying personally, for me, just like with Ralph Lauren, if you ever see me train and stuff, I'm not wearing Ralph Lauren clothes. Like I might wear Ralph Lauren shorts and stuff if I have them, or they're old and I'll train with them. But he doesn't really make a lot of workout gear like that, you know. They would
Ralph doesn't make a lot of
Ralph, not all the time. Like he'll make it and then it discontinues. So it's not like when my stuff breaks apart, I could just go get, you know what I mean? Like you could with Adidas or Nike or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's for the occasions and stuff. But for me personally, as you know, I'm older and I need this diversity. That diversity hits for me, you know what I mean?
So that's your criticism for our own.
I think, you know, but I think that criticism is something that they can hit eventually, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that for our people, that's all we've been asking for is merch stuff. You know, t-shirts, hats, sweats. And it's funny because they said, well, that's me, right? But most, like when I teach in public schools, man, kids don't even wear jeans anymore. They wear sweatpants all day. All day. You know what I mean? Girls, they just wear yoga pants all day. So it's their sweatpants.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
Right?
gonna be comfy.
You know, even my youngest daughter, she likes to just wear like fancy colored designs on what is essentially yoga pants. And I'm like, when she looks at a pair of jeans, like they're a foreign item, you know, foreign materials, you know what I mean? So this is what kids are allowed to wear, so we keep them comfortable now. At least we keep them comfortable and warm, you know? So it's all dependent on the person, you know? So I have no problem with the brands because they're hitting a lot of the youth market, and we are always youth driven. So I don't think I'm the one to be asking like what my personal
Well,
thing is.
I think it's important your opinion.
Yeah.
But you know, but there's even a bigger issue in terms, because I know like the resources like jeans, like we don't have no real to make our own jeans. We don't have like real connections to denim.
Yeah,
Denim
it's
connects.
difficult to make that. Yeah. And let's be honest though, a lot of the clothing lines that our brothers and sisters make, whether in the nation or brothers and sisters outside the nation, right? They're basically just buying a corporate generic brand and putting their stuff on it, though. You know what I'm saying?
Like a champion.
Yeah,
and then,
champion, you know, that's that's corporate. But nobody looks at a guy wearing a champion hoodie and goes, oh, you're wearing corporate stuff, but you are. You know what I'm saying? You are. You're wearing big business too. You know what I mean? But when we look at champion, I know when I look at somebody champion, I just think of the Raekwon line. You know what I mean? Champion kid, you get your boots knocked. You know what I mean? Like, right? So it's always good with me, but you know, it is what it is. You know, that's the contradiction we have unless we decide to go OD. Because remember, like, you can only say it about Gandhi. Gandhi shed the westernized suits, but then he even shed the Indians' own clothing, the clothing of his own people that they were making for something of his own that he made. So at the end of his life, like, he was wearing loincloth because that's what he was threading himself. You know what I mean? Like,
that's extreme.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, unless we go to that extreme. But people, like, you see arguments with people, they, especially youth, like, they want to argue, but they have no answers. And they're not out in the street and everything like that. They're not teaching the youth and having to have a balance where they appeal to the youth and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand that. You know what I mean? We're in a capitalist society too, and the youth are, you know, the respect of success that the youth respect is capitalistic success by any means necessary, even more so than before. And a lot of that is because of the rappers that we lauded and media lauded, and I say we because I was in those media circles watching them do this, even though I was disagreeing, I was losing. But the principles of rugged individualism that Jay-Z brought and led, that's what people respect. So when I say to my age groups that are 85 or things like that, and I say, listen, you know, we just can't have wealth at all costs, and he goes, nah, man, that's the way it is, you know. So by any means necessary, rugged individualism, you know, in one's capitalistic outlook, is what the youth respect. So if a guy got in front of a record label of you know, whites playing electric guitars, you know what I'm saying, with deep pockets, and started doing a shuffle dance and got the deal, they'd be like, yo, he's getting his money. You know, like, yo, that has been more respected. Because it's a path, though. So, like, people forget that the path to success has been taught to us.
Capitalism and commerce.
Yeah. And we've spoken about this all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, like, if I wear this Ralph Lauren like this, I get a lot of respect for the way I put it together. And a lot of students will see a level of success with that. And they'll respect the level of success. Mind you, if people really know, they know that I struggle all the time. Like, I'm a classic struggling writer. I have lots of acclaim. You know what I'm saying? But that acclaim does not translate to dollars like that. You know what I'm saying? It really doesn't. You know? It doesn't. So, you know,
are you intentionally trying to turn it around in that way?
All the time. We're always trying to find more fiscal, breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? You know, we're always, you know.
You think we could do that with an event like this that we're about to do?
I hope so. I hope so, that with the event that the whole world sees that, we not only present a diverse amount of people that we're down with, right? Because the event is not just 5% MCs, but MCs that have always looked to the 5% for guidance, who respect the 5% insights, who utilize them in their daily life, you know, whether they are 5% or not. They're 5% minded in many respects. And
yeah, but then they don't want to come around because this brother's like, nah, you're not real.
Of course, yeah. And this is a tough place. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta have a tough metal. You gotta have metal. You know, we're always talking about metal, the steel that, you know, shoot that metal, all that kind of stuff. But the metal, the METTLE, the first time I ever sat in the school, I got bombed twice, God. I got bombed once, and I saw a bombing. So it was 2 times. I was sitting there, I was wearing a suit, sitting down in the lobby because I didn't want to go in. I didn't know if class started yet. The second time I came here, right, was from my first class with Knowledge Me, May 4th, 1999. So I know the day. I'm sitting there, and I won't say his name because he does, you know, the guy knows. He walks out, one of my Kung Fu brothers, it would be one of my Kung Fu brothers. He walks out, and Firstborn Prince asks him a question, and he answers it, and he goes, you know, kind of like answering it with a question to see if he's right, he's not sure. And he goes, and Prince curses him out, you should have known that. You know, how many times, you know, and I said, oh man, this is going to be tough.
Oh man, right.
This is going to be tough. And he didn't say, Firstborn Prince asked me if, you know, who am I? Not me, he didn't ask me. He asked me, who am I? And I said, you know, I'm Sunez, and I'm waiting for the class to begin. And he said, okay, Knowledge Me's not here yet. So I stayed waiting. He said I can wait inside, I'll come inside. And there's a God named Ja Rule. I don't know if you ever knew him.
Black City.
Right.
That's my man.
Yeah. So Ja Rule walks in, he goes, peace. And I say, peace God. It's the first time I tell a stranger, peace God. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's peace God. And he goes, I tell my name, and I explain Sunez, and I explain what it means because nobody's ever heard that. And he goes, so how you doing? And he goes, no, I'm chilling. And he goes, the sun don't chill, huh?
This is when
I remember, the sun don't chill, huh?
Right.
And then he just walked out though. And I was like, oh man. I was like, oh shit, I heard that in the song. But I didn't know that, damn it. You know what I mean? And I was like, damn it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna fail my first day. You know what I mean? But that eventually was the same first day that Knowledge Me had me build, and at the end of the class he said if I kept the way I was, I would be teaching here. So it was something he saw in the way I spoke and everything that was with clarity, you know? But but it was crazy that, you know, my first bombing was from Ja Rule. Yeah, we always joke about that too. Man.
Wow, man. Yeah, that's my man, man.
Yeah.
You came up,
you know? And he didn't say me, that never happened to me, so it felt really stinging. But when I look back on it, it wasn't really mean at all. It was, you know. But
and that's what happens with people who come to the class. And
they don't know that fury is like the way, you know what I'm saying? And again, I got used to that with the gods. So when I went to learn martial arts with Siga and Bobby, and the gods brought me, when they showed me something, and when Siga would show me something and hit me a lot harder than I have ever been hit, I didn't take it personally. I was like, that's for me to learn in that way. And whereas other people I brought, they were like, nah, I don't like this. You know what I mean? I don't like this. I don't like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, or that if you do spar and you get hit by accident, you don't feel like, oh man, I feel like you did that on purpose. Like, we're all learning. We all don't have good aim. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, and those are things that I learned with the gods, and I applied it immediately to what I was learning in the martial arts. So, but I never had such tough learning as with the gods and as with the, you know, with Siga and Bobby, with the Kung Fu. So it all made sense to me. But when people learn with me, I have the warmest current you'll get. So if you can't approach me, forget it, man. You're in trouble. You know what I mean? If you can't handle me, I give a lot of work, but you know, I'm not one to yell and bomb you if you're not. It have to be an extreme
What
thing.
is it? What is it with people where you think it's just that they just like so soft? Like if I approach him, he might ask me a question that I don't know, and that's gonna hurt my feelings, and I don't want to hurt my feelings.
I think over time, people our age and younger, of course, more so. The chart goes higher when you go younger. The concept of mentorship is almost gone. You know, maybe it's because of the internet, people learning on their own, DIY, do it yourself. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people, I learned weightlifting on my own, but I suffered a lot of injuries and a lot of ego lifting for that. You know what I'm saying? I was
ego lifting.
You know, like just to try it, I would try things, and you know, I didn't know how to test my limits, so I just hit all the limits. You know. And at one time I was like on a flimsy bench that could not support the weight, and I was benching 200-pound dumbbells for 20 reps. At my weight, I was a little heavier, I was like 150, but I was doing 200 pounds for like 20 reps, but it was really killing my joints.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't adding muscle, it was actually hurting, you know? But the ego, you know what I'm saying? It was like awesome, you know? So one day when I learned, I just filmed it, so I won't do it again. I have proof I did it, but then I just let it go. Right? But I think it's like that. A lot of young people, especially, they don't have an experience of being tutored and mentored. Like when I came to a law school, I already was being tutored, mentored by Dr. David Traverso. So I was with a Boricua PhD. Brother with 7 master's degrees, you know what I mean? That I still build with and have a mentorship relationship, a more colleague relationship today, and a wonderful relationship. But we have a relationship where, in the beginning, we had a relationship where I was being mentored. So I think when I came and now it's me so I could teach, it was because I was already being put to teach when I was with Dr. Traverso, you know what I mean? And he would put me to teach in Hunter, and in other CUNY schools to lecture about what I knew about hip hop, music, and journalism. So I didn't realize that was preparing me, you know what I'm saying? And preparing me really mostly for this, you know what I mean? Surely it extends to the podcast world and stuff like that, and radio, when I did radio, because I'm comfortable in front of the mic. And lecturing in front of people, in front of crowds and stages, but that's really where that originates from. And I think a lot of youth don't have good mentors out there. And I say that now too because as an experience, because I get paid to be a mentor. So when I go to public schools, I do mentorship programs. So I'm either teaching specific courses, martial arts or music, or even emceeing to the students. Or music, I teach like music appreciation, but I'm also teaching mentoring programs, like the Boys to Mentoring program. And these are things that even the older kids, like the high school kids, they never had a mentor, you know? And certainly when I go into the elementary schools, it's the first time that they've ever been mentored. And the part of mentorship is that you teach youth, but that you are open in such a way where you can hear their problems, where they feel comfortable, like, yo, if I tell you what's going on, you're not gonna snitch, right, to the teacher, or even to my parents and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And that's a big thing, because what happens if I hear things that are not right and exact, dangerous to the child, you know what I'm saying? You know?
Well, how do you navigate that, though? Really?
There are certain things by law and by the way we're supposed to, like if we hear about abuse and stuff, we do have to report it and make a sheet. Thankfully, in my experience, though, a lot of it is like they don't know how to talk to a girl, or they don't feel comfortable. And I'm like in my music appreciation class, you know what I mean? I'll show them old soul songs, and one of the students had one of the things I was showing him soul songs, and he was talking about that he had trouble with a girl. So with these boys, these are all boys that act tough as nails, and most of them in my class, they're the ones that get in trouble the most, so they give them to me. So I deal with like the most risky youth in the school. And these kids they didn't grow up with that song. It's probably their parents' song. But I end up singing Keisha Cole's Love with them because they're trying to get in touch with being loved. And I remember, what was the song? He was like, yo, but I don't know if I say the wrong thing and they reject me. And then I played, it wasn't the Keisha Cole Love that was the song that I used. It was the Music Soul Child. Music Soul Child. You know what I mean? His big hit. Love.
Okay.
Right? Music Soul Child's Love. Because if you hear the first verse, it's exactly what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? And the kid was like, yo, that's my life right there. You know what I mean? So it was like, a lot of times, you know, like when we were kids, youth go through things and they feel alone. You know? I think in my life, I had great mentors, but part of that was because I had a great father figure, but at the same time, I'm an identical twin. So there was always someone else that was going through the same shit that I was going through at the same time. Like he would relate because like, yo, damn, we're going through kind of like, you know?
Same thing.
Yeah, like, do you relate to this? Yeah, it's like, you know, we relate. But that's what the youth are missing, somebody that relates to them. And that's why in the classroom, even here, I spend a lot of time learning about the student first. You know what I'm saying? Who they are, what they're dealing with, what was their journey here. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, I would get a lot of help from elders and say, listen, you know what to do. Just teach them when they get in here. You know? And I'm like, no, what matters is what us learning about them. You know what I'm saying? Us learning about them, you know, and what they need and stuff. And a lot of people will fault me still for this. And even people may be watching this. If I learn from a student that he needs to learn something for his class, his school, or even a job that he's going to, I will teach him that first before I teach him this knowledge of self. You know what I'm saying? I will teach him to be successful in their daily life and then show them this knowledge of self, because what we teach, civilization, right? Like the knowledge ability, civilization, righteousness, the awareness of where they are and what they're dealing with, right? Civilization, the righteousness, right? The right ways to go about this, then the knowledge of self. And that's the way, when I'm talking about pedagogy, these are things that Savior Knowledge taught me. So this is not even my curriculum. This is the things that was handed down to me when I was taught how to teach at this school. We're here to be a liaison to the community. And yo, going back to the concept thing, that's what it's going to be. You know what I mean? People are going to see that we're in touch with the artists of the community. We're in touch with the coolness of the whole world. We're in touch, you know, with saying, yo, we're here and this school is actually for you. You know what I'm saying? It's actually for you, you know? And you know, for people like me, a law school always felt that way because, for me, I'll tell you, the elders, when they were, you know, because now I'm 20 years older, they were like around my age, a lot of the elders, and a little bit older. They were cool to me. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew about hip-hop enough to talk about it, criticize it, but they were playing the crates. And obviously our culture of hip-hop, we was really loving the crates. Right. So, you know that when we came in, we used to hang out God here, and I was telling the guy, King Kamal, piece of God, King Kamal, we used to hang out here, and I remember I would be here with like Umala, Aleem, and all of them, and they'd just be playing soul music, and I would be like, oh yeah, and they would always be doing, what you know about that? And I would be like dramatics, you know, I'd be like main ingredient, okay. The moments, because I know all the groups, you know what I mean? You know, I'd be even on the, you know, the obscure groups, enchantment, you know what I mean? I'm even, you know, going in there, and
very well studied.
Yeah, you know, because I love soul music, you know, like I said, I named my daughter Alma, though, you know what I mean? I love soul, I love music, that's the one most, you know, as a music writer, that's what I try to articulate and judge, the soul of a music. Can we write and judge that? Can we articulate that? You know what I mean? Right. How it works. But you know, even all that, like, this concert, besides the proceeds coming to a law school in Mecca, and I say this, I was thinking about this. A lot of people see me hosting and that I have this class this long. None of these proceeds are for me. Just because I have the longest running class here and everything, I do not need this money. I do not want this money. Everything that I give to a student is from my own pocket, and it's readily available. This is for the school itself. Chairs, the computers, you know, the heat, you know, as simple as the light bills, you know what I mean? The windows to be fixed, you know, whatever needs to be fixed, you know, to give ourselves a better yard, to make it more suitable for the youth.
But that's something also that to build on, because there's different things to focus on, right? You know, for instance, like the security of the school.
Right, security of school. Most of the security throughout these last 25 years that I've been coming to school and teaching, it's all volunteer.
Yeah,
you know?
and it seems to be all over the place. I'm actually looking at like the science of cybersecurity and you know, doing this recording. Right. I've recorded over 90 terabytes of data.
Crazy.
That's crazy. A lot of data, right? And it's growing. It continues to grow daily. So, you know, and in studying cybersecurity, you know, I look at what we're dealing with. We have a poor, what they call a poor security posture, right? Right. So, because we don't really have no.
Right.
No
yeah.
structure.
It's really volunteer. Yeah.
So I would like to see us build that up, but you know, these funds coming in like for this event, you know, I would like to be more focused. Yeah. Focus in certain areas. You know what I'm saying? Like this, you know, we don't want the money just to go to this account that's held hostage. Right.
I agree. You know about the security, you know what's interesting, right? And I talk about this a lot, and in the last video, our controversial video, maybe this might be a controversial one too, but right. I talked about the elders and how there's so many things that had to be corrected by all of us. You know what I'm saying? And that we still work on correcting to make this a safe place, to make it a fruitful place, because that's two different things. You got to make it a safe place, that's the requisite, but then you got to make it a fruitful place. You know, it has to have things, and but in all the years, it kind of gets overlooked and disrespected that certain elders did not get paid to do things here, and they came of their own volition. You know what I'm saying? I remember one time, and you know, we see the memorial here to the great Najee, remembered in perfection to the God because he was so great. One time he was talking to me and saying, and I won't get into detail because it was his personal life though, but he sacrificed way more than I have ever had to sacrifice, and chose that sacrifice to just have a consistent opening of the school here for many years. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So I know in my personal life though, I have sacrificed, it took a toll. It is part of the, you know, part of the family structure of mine that crumbled, right? In my going family structure, right, that made wives into BMs, you know what I mean? Let's keep it real, right? Is because this never had an end. This class never had an ending, you know what I'm saying? Me building had an ending. There's so many other things that I do that don't have an ending, so it's not the only thing. But what people see as positive is often only positive for a certain amount of time. And with elders like Najee, they really put that commitment there, and I wouldn't have been able to come to the school if they didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And this is why, you know, having a fundraiser like this, the fact that we know guys that are dope enough and willing enough to share some dope music, you know what I mean? All upper echelon, you know what I'm saying? Some of them I think is near essential, like Rim. Some of them is like have incredible albums right now, like Rim, 07, you know, like I'm on 07's album. I'm biased though, but I love 07's work, and I've known the God forever. You know what I'm saying? In the station. So, but the lineup is amazing. You know what I'm saying? The Great God. He literally was the first cover story for the magazine I write features for, OG Press magazine. You know, so these are headliners. You know that like they're not just weak guys. Sauce Heist, the whole crew, the Heist Life. You know what I mean? Have made some of their own seminal records. produced by Spanish Ran and others. So, you know, they're linked with great. RLX, one of my burgeoning builders I've written about for years, you know, a great MC, you know what I'm saying, that a lot of people don't know about, you know what I'm saying, but he has a nice catalog of about 5 or 6 albums. Know It All.
I bet with him the other night.
Yeah, Know It All. One of the most clever MCs that you'll hear, you know what I'm saying? A real wordplay wizard who really knows how to capture a dungeon sound, you know? So like very real New York, you know?
Okay.
Fly Lords is the one that I'm learning about, you know? So he's the one on the bill I don't know too much about.
That's
you know?
Those are Born King students.
That's peace, yeah.
Supreme Being and Self-Savior.
Okay.
I'm familiar with some of that
Yeah,
stuff.
so
I'm more familiar with
by
this
the time
than-
it comes, I'm going to be very familiar though, because I write about everyone else on the bill I've written about, I've covered, almost many of them I interviewed, Rim, Sauce, 07, Know It All, and everybody else soon enough. So it's an incredible bill. There were artists that come along to show their artwork, that are contributing artwork to the school, so the decadence of the school will be even better, which is wonderful, and a wonderful thing. 1,000 Words, one of the great curators in this hip-hop underground that I call, that is a universe that I've been calling the Invisible Renaissance era, because it has been magnificent and so deep and so unknown since at least when I first started calling that in 2013, because I've been seeing this since the 2010s. So, you know, just a lot of great talent that's going to be on display.
See,
you
my
know?
idea to really to draw all this up is to connect the dots. Like I see, it's like someone like you, with all that you've done with your journalism and all that you do now, what you're doing as an MC. I think you and 1,000 Words need to be connected.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. You know, it's crazy that I never met 1,000 Words, and I was telling you that I've tried so hard to find the guy who's burgeoning that I'll often lose track of building with it after. You know what I mean? So like, I would love to do more interviews, and I'm sure he would be with it because I build with him, roam streets. But he, you know, he's great. He's doing great, so I don't need to talk to him anymore. You know what I mean? Estinat, you know, a lion in this. You know what I mean? I don't feel the need that I need to build with him anymore. Like I'm not running to interview him because I feel like he's doing great. You know what I'm saying? I can cover him in my pieces, in my books. You know?
Is it that you only build them to kind of help them along, or is it that you, because it's almost like we have our own source right now, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know,
because we could, I'm still interested in
you know, the thing is, like, I would love. No, that's the thing. That's the conflict, because I hear so much music. I would love to go build with repeatedly. You know what I'm saying? With Rome or continuing to do. I try to continue. You know what I'm saying? I work on continuing, like I have continuing interviews with Napoleon, with 07, with others. And so they're definitely, I want to continue. You know what I'm saying? But I try so hard to find the guys that don't have a quality, or what I say is like a great interview. You know what I'm saying? Or an interview the way I would do it. You know?
So do you think that, I mean, because I guess this is kind of like a loaded question, like this class could be like the circuit. Remember, like the show and prove was like once one of the circuits that the artists would go to.
Yeah.
And so you think like this class would be like become like something like where they would come and sit down?
I would hope so.
I
would hope so. Yeah.
Come build with you.
I would hope so.
And we have the campus.
There are MCs like 07 has had this knowledge. So they already had this knowledge way before I met them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas there's others like Rim who I build with. You know what I'm saying? And add on with him. You know, to shore up and amplify what he already knows. You know, so, and there are others that aren't sure how to get it and stuff. And of course now in this world that we deal with things, I tell students the way to learn with me is to either contact me personally or come to the class. You know what I'm saying? I let it be either or, you know? I think that in the classroom you could learn a different way of learning. Because I think that if it was ideal, the best way to learn is through a mentor relationship that we have, like the enlightener to the
Right.
to that God that's learning, that newborn. However, in the classroom also adds a communal effect. I love the communal effect, like they'll learn in the classroom, but then there's other gods that know things,
Right.
and they can add on to that of a different nature, and then now the networking happens. That's the way I was taught from Knowledge Me, my enlightener, Remembered in Perfection, because he always wanted the classroom of students to be a network, you know? So I remember I learned with the gods that I learned with, like iVictory, who does his own podcast and things like that. We would never stop networking. You know, we learned Kung Fu together. The great poet Messiah El-Bey that became Messiah El-Bey, he didn't deal with this knowledge like that, but he got it, became a great writer and poet, you know, so, and we keep in touch and stuff. So it's like this, it became this communal thing where we would always, you know, build, you know. So it was a thing like that, and that's really what it was supposed to be, you know, right?
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of possibility and potential to do a lot with you know, with this classroom. Like, remember, it's a continual conversation. Like, what can we do with the school?
Right.
Right. What can we do with the school? What can we contribute to the school, and what can we contribute to the culture in general?
You know, when I was taught, it wasn't like having a class and stuff was something that particular elders, as Knowledge Me, Savior Knowledge, eventually others saw that I could do and that I should do. You know what I mean? But always the goal that was pushed, though, especially Knowledge Me in the classroom, was if you don't know what to bring to the school, find the time weekly or regular, at least once a week, doesn't have to be the same day, that you would come to the school and just be here to add on. What is needed, I'm here for it. And as you go along consistently, maybe they need you to come through with your overalls and clean up. Maybe you're a good orator, or like you come at times where there's a lot of young kids and they could come in and you can add on something and maybe just be another builder that's around, you know, and make a good cipher. Make a good cipher outside of the school and attract the kids, you know what I mean? Because that counts, though. When there's a lot of guys out front, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It would be like, yo, that's the spot right there, you know? So it would be like that, you know?
You know, that's for us to do, you know.
Like, you don't have to have like a detailed curriculum and say, I'm gonna do this. Nah, you just come, hang out, see what the gods need, say, you know, like, and just make it consistent, you know. And then if you can, bring a person, you know. And then also, I don't know if it's ego, I don't know if it's because people aren't really communicating or deciding they don't have time, so they don't even start. But a lot of times, I wasn't taught this because I was coming here. But a lot of the gods, and I know many of them were taught, if you got to go out there and teach. But if you can't teach them fully, you guide them to the school.
Yeah.
In other words, if your teaching is only introductory, you guide them to the school. You know what I'm saying? And that's not being done. This is something that me and Wise Jamel used to talk about all the time. He used to say that a lot of people don't have time to teach anyone, but their job was to go and introduce it and then guide them to say, come to the school to get more of the understanding. You know what I mean? And that's not a foreign concept. That's how the father went to the Nation of Islam. You know what I mean? You know, his wife didn't tell him everything. His wife probably couldn't even articulate everything that him as a man needed to know. You got to go and see for yourself, because you're my husband. You should know, and you should be the one to be able to decide for, in a lot of ways, for both of us. You need to go check this yourself, you know, see if you disagree with it or not, because this is what we're dealing with now, so.
Right.
We're gonna have some problems here.
Same thing with Elijah and his wife, right?
Right.
Same concept.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if people are not doing it because of ego. I don't know if people, they just haven't adapted to how to be this in the world. You know, like for some reason, look, a lot of people will do this. They'll go, oh yeah, you're not even wearing your flag around 85s and stuff. Like I had just said before, and I chastised, but I say that, but that's part of the teaching here. For me to teach you how to be yourself among the 85. The name of the course, you know, Day-Sun named it.
Discourse.
Political Education and Civilization Enrichment. The political education was that. So we could wear this flag around. Do you know why Day-Sun called it that? And say, yo, God, teach the course like, and we'll name it this. Me and Day-Sun were always about revolution. You know what I mean? And Day-Sun, a lot of people don't know. And if you know Day-Sun, he has many, many flows. Let's just leave it like that. Many flows.
Yes,
But a lot of people were never introduced, though, to his corporate flow. When Knowledge Me gave me the assignment to make a magazine for the nation, there was no such thing as like where you could publish your own stuff. You had to pay big bucks to publish your own stuff. And it was Day-Sun who was so good at CUNY's Baruch College and had such good reputation there. Because mind you, I was already, I rose up to the level of editorship at the CUNY Baruch College school newspaper, the Ticker, more so that I set a record for publishing articles there. No one's published more articles in that school than me. I published 184 articles. I challenge anyone in that, if they ever go to Baruch, to see if anybody ever eclipsed that. And I say that only because they never gave me any awards for that or anything like that. So when they come and give me this post, you know, they want to give me a post thing, you check the stats there. Anyway, that's my only pitch. But if I'm going to give me a postdoctorate, but Day-Sun was so good politically in that school and so great at handling all of the different people, he was able to get funding for me to make a magazine out of Baruch College, be printed by Baruch College clandestinely or unofficially, and sell it as a school for a law school, and me complete my assignment for Knowledge Me.
That's dope.
I wouldn't have been able to do that. Our swords, our sacred words, I called it, our swords. That's why one of the songs on the first album I did with King Kamon was called Our Swords. You know, that I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for the monies that he procured. So everyone there knew he was Day-Sun a lot. And that but it was peace that they knew him as his honorable name. You know what I mean? So like, we knew how to deal with the political education where people would just respect us as having a spirituality, whatever they would call it, a philosophy that was different, but was based on the foundations of building a more righteous world and dealing with all the human families positively. You know what I mean? And articulating that, you know, was part of that. You know, was part of that. And that's part of the coursework here, you know. This is why I have such a warm current when people come in. You know, what is it that you want? If there are things that you want, like, you know, you get all types of. I've gotten every type of current. I can make a whole comic book of the crazy characters that have come into this classroom. You know, it's Harlem. Every type of spirituality, every type of religious hustle has been done here, so there's a lot of affected mindset, and every type of 85 is here, I will say. You know what I mean? Every type of 85 that you could think of resides here, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? It's a real melting pot of that. So, you know what I mean? So I've dealt with some crazy stuff, but I never let it get to me, because that was one thing that I learned, like, to keep my youth, to let things go, to not get upset about things. You know what I'm saying?
That's an art, right?
It really is.
It's an art to letting things go.
It really is to let things go. You know what I'm saying? And this is why, like with the art world, whatever foray I go into, in a book, a magazine that I make, a book that I make, an album that I make, I don't take it offensive if it doesn't do the numbers, or if it doesn't get the accolades that I expected to get. You know what I'm saying? Because I know what I did with it. I'm okay with what I did with it. You know what I'm saying? And I let it go. I let it go by just focusing on the next thing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, do you think, how the phrase, like, you think you should, like, maybe put more emphasis on marketing and promoting it?
All the time.
Yeah.
You know, I think about that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Right now, my marketing and promotion is not really fiscal. It's really based on networking with the right people. I really try to pump up those things. You know what I'm saying? So it really tests the relationship, hopefully, of the people that are around me. And that's always something that leads to disappointment, because like a lot of people will not, let's just say a lot of people won't give the press that I gave them. A lot of people can't give the press that I gave to them. You know what I'm saying? So that's disappointing and disheartening if I really get stuck on that.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I'll say this though. See, soon as you, as far as your albums, even in your books, like you put out such an enormous amount. It's like me personally, like I'm like, okay, yeah, he got this album. Check out this album. Oh, he got another album coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one coming out. Oh shit, he got another one coming out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
wait a
And
minute.
it's funny, if you talk to King Kamal and me, it's like he was bothering me like this whole year, like January, February, March. He was like, yo, God, when are you gonna release the album though? You know what I mean? Because he's always trying to give me new beats. He's not trying. He's always giving me new stuff. You know, he really pushes me to expose my talent by getting me in the booth a lot. And as far as writing books, they just come to me. You know what I'm saying? And I have a lot of material. So, and
But how do we concentrate that? Meaning, like, cause like I would love to more so support what you're doing.
Sure,
absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
Cause like a lot of times, like I feel like I missed it. Like,
yeah.
like I'm gonna get to it.
I would say this though, I only have, I have 4 albums, 1 solo. The solo is available. The other albums are available. They're all available on Bandcamp. You know what I mean? So people can always support them. The books, they're very expensive. But the older books are always on sale with me. And I always let people barter for them.
But you don't have
like
a promotional campaign.
Right, yeah.
So, and that's what I'm saying, like, 'cause I do when I do
I've never had the time and the amount of money to properly do a promotion campaign. I keep it very real.
No, I'm saying,
So,
I'm talking about within us. Like
Yeah.
this right
Well,
here, a law school YouTube channel.
I don't do it on the classroom because I've always, in my classroom, I've very rarely done it because and almost never do it unless people ask in the chat or something like that about it. Because I always wanted this to be free of anything that you need from me. Even the book about my understandings of the Peace Course book, that's not even required in the Peace Course class because they're creative works about this knowledge. So I want this to be a free giving to the public. You know, I always wanted the Peace Course to be something free to the public. So that's why during the class, I never speak about what I'm doing like that unless people ask me, or if I think the journey is something useful to the people. You know what I mean? But I don't really go into it. You know, I don't really go into it.
I mean, again, I just making use.
I mean, you're asking me, so I go into it, but
I'm talking about just making use of the useful land. You know what I'm saying? This is useful land, and you know,
and I've been told that before, but that's always been the thing. Like, I always wanted something to be of service to everything else.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm getting at. Like this being of service, like this is of service to a law school in Mecca, and this is a place that
I never saw it that the things I write or the music I make is a thing that is like a service that's needed though. You know what I'm saying? Maybe people will see it differently, you know? But
see now that goes into I'm just saying it's an output of what you do and like
sure, absolutely.
And then I'm also thinking about like going back to this event, like just engaging the community. Right, so this work that you're doing is a part of the engaging community. Yeah. Your books are a part of the engaging community. Your albums are part of the engaging community. So to really like thinking about like, all right, a law school Mecca channel, are we gonna just only talk to 5%ers?
Right.
That's it?
Right.
So we're just preaching to the choir?
We have to.
So this is why I said like this event, like to kind of like
absolutely.
To expand.
And you know, a lot of
more.
even the publications I made for the school, like the Mecca mission I did with Latikala, that he published, and I was the editor-in-chief of. That was deliberately designed to be written as a publication for the populace, not for the nation. You know.
Right.
So it was like us to them, you know. And
But I think that's the best way. That's the best approach. Like if you're just talking to us,
I think this though, guys.
that's cool. But
you know, like all of my works are really for the populace. You know what I mean? Like the Reel of series I do that I've been doing this decade. The Reel of 2021 and 2020, the Reel of 2022, the Reel of 2023. I'm writing the Reel of 2024 now. I'm super behind because it's like 1 million albums, but I'm always behind writing that book. But that's one of those books you're always behind.
I think that's
but those books are part of the historical record. So when people come to buy the older ones, those are always on a discount to buy as a bunch. And you know, even the other books, the Filtered Reel, which has essays from the 2010s, those are part of the historical creative record of me sharing things creatively about the historical record of music, because it has stuff that was not covered or was covered before everyone else. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like those books are they now make me a historian.
Right,
know?
and that's what I said. Like these are national treasures.
I would hope so.
At least that's how I'm considering it. Like all the stuff that we're doing.
Wow, that'd be wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like all the stuff that we're doing is national treasures.
That was the hope of it. You know, I have a date. There is, you know, with the Reel of series, there is a date that I'm going for to absolutely do every single year up to a certain year, where there's an amount that I'm doing. In my head, I'm not going to say when that it will end, but I know when I want to end it. But or say that it's enough. But you know, all of these things are to show that there's a deeper world and that there's deeper possibilities to what I call this invisible renaissance. You know what I mean? But a lot of the music stuff, the main goal that I agreed to it was to be daring and try something else. Like my daughter dared me, said it'd be a great idea if you do that. Why not? And I thought about the concepts of conflict of interest, a journalist of music making music in the same fields, and I disavowed that because then I looked at the guys that I looked up to the most and studied with the jazz writers from the legendary eras like Amiri Baraka, right, who really was my main model to write journalism in a creative way. I amplified it by throwing those poems inside the creative piece, along with the creative prose like the way Baraka had. But Baraka had poetry, he made albums, he did everything. You know, he did plays, and it was all in the jazz ethos. And to even great, to me, legendary essential historians like Ted Jiwa, who also has his own band, like he does jazz music. And I think he's a pianist. So I was like, yo, there is no excuse for me not to engage in this when, to me, great MCs, and it started years ago, great MCs like Spit Gems were like, he would bring me a piece, he would tell me about a piece he read, and he was like, yo, if you learn how to say this piece, it's a song. Like, and I would be like, wow, I didn't think of that like that, you know what I'm saying?
The power of art, man.
Yeah,
art,
and I didn't see it that way. And then there were others that threw me in the booth, like Dave Darr, who engineered a lot of records for eight Andre the Giant, right? Piece of the God, because that's the God.
Peace,
who else? Yeah, he would be a great Bill. Who else? Dave Darr engineered some of Common's albums. I think he engineered what's the one with the love song produced by Dilla? Everybody knows that song. You know what I mean? Right? Why am I forgetting? The Primo beat that he got. You know, the Dilla records. That one. Okay. That album. The 2000 album. Everybody knows the Common's 2000 album. I'm forgetting the title of that album. But I think he engineered that one. But he engineered a lot of stuff. Yeah, like Water for Jack. There you go. Yeah. But then after that, it was Prince Power Rule, who said he was doing the Leftovers, a collective, because he got the term the Leftovers because he was in Bushwick, and he was told that they were referring to the Puerto Ricans that were still living there. The whites that gentrified it were referring to the Puerto Ricans as the Leftovers. So he embraced it, said, yo, we're the Leftovers, and he made an arts collective called the Leftovers NYC. He put me in that and wanted me to introduce the albums with a poem that I was saying. That was my first experience trying to make something that was musical in that. And then it was others like Aguilar who had me on, gave me a track to build on the album he did with Sadat X. Then it was many others though, you know, so like this year before my even solo album came out, I'm already on multiple works, you know what I mean? I could just list them, I could just tell you. I'm on songs with King Kamal, his album Substance 810, Peace to the God, because I deal with him on the knowledge.
What you saying? Pace, what you saying?
Nah, and also just the whole situation with UFO, me and you in the video and how even that came together.
Oh yeah, definitely. Peace to UFO feed, man.
That was a little alley-oop. You know, I'm gonna credit myself for that. You know what I mean?
I knew UFO before that though. I knew UFO before that. Yeah, I knew UFO for a few years already. Yeah, so. Yeah.
I want to really pull, like I said, connect all the dots. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you, Born King, myself,
absolutely,
what
yeah.
Rakim's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
Really,
yeah. We need to make that stronger though because we're a vanguard. I truly see that we're a vanguard.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like the vanguard, we're the vanguards of this. So you know, like let's try to make it. And that's really what this whole thing is part to do. Like and to really show the community that this is what we're doing. You know what I mean?
Where it's on.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And Spit Gems. I was on a Build Destroy Build. I was on a record with him. Also had Thurston Howell on it. Which is amazing to be on that record like that. Great album. And then 07's new album, I'm on that. So it's just been really wonderful to be on all these records, you know. But
I feel bad because I'm like not as in tune with those things as I should be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know.
And you know, 5%ers. I have to say, 5%ers this year I released a lot of albums. You know what I mean? It's not just me. It's me, SD Knack. 07, Kasim Allah, he has the album called The Crown. You know what I mean? There's
that joint is fine.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys with great albums. A lot of guys with great albums. You know what I mean? So like, so I'm not even saying people that like they've got this knowledge, they're in tune. There's gods that they are God. Like Rim has albums. Peace to the God Rim. A lot of people don't know he has knowledge. You know, if they're listening, there's a lot of people that see themselves as 5%. They see themselves as God, right? Like we were talking about UFO Feed, right? They have works out, you know what I mean? So they're in that realm. The God Ras Fresco, that's another 5%er with the album with DJ Muggs, which there is never a bad album with Muggs, and Ras Fresco has no bad album. So what are you gonna get? You know what I mean? What's the equation there? You know what I'm saying? One of the best albums of the year. So it's like the amount of albums from the 5% you could live on alone. You know what I'm saying?
So yo, BK.
Oh, by the way, another God. The God Supreme Ruler, S18.
Yes.
He has an album called
Base. Hold on a second.
Vertical Rehab.
I gotta get in tune with him because we've been talking.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, Born King, what is your opinion of like how we could actually pull it all together and make it stronger from your perspective?
Like the 5%, all the 5% MCs or artists?
Well, MCs, artists, like, you know, like you're not an MC per se, but you're a very intricate part of what MCs do, right? Like in terms of, you know, putting together albums and curating and whatnot. Like Sunez, you know, does what he does. I produce, so like, you know, like what, you know, and I'm like, damn, like you got how many albums to Sunez?
4.
4 albums. I'm like, I'm trying to do one. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to. So you know, and I'm interested in actually working with King Kamal because he seems like he's a great A&R.
Yeah.
Like he has like great A&R.
But listen, you know, we'll talk about my album eventually, but he's my Quincy. I call him Quincy Kamal for a reason, though. You know.
Right.
So that whole Lovo, Sinatra, Quincy Kamal, that's where that comes from, because he really just knows how to, help me make the right songs and just pushes me. You
So
know what I mean?
now I guess I owe him a call to actually talk to him and actually sit like a
Absolutely,
as you know, like an A&R, right?
Yeah, no, he really is. He
But
really is.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's your take on it?
That's it. I guess us just really just communicating amongst everybody, or doing what Sunez does as an editor or a critic on this. When
You breaking up? You breaking up?
Can you hear me now?
Space.
Yeah. I feel like one thing that I miss is reading like source magazines. Like source magazines would like cover all the hip hop type of thing. Like said, magazine kind of covering all the odds and music and actually critiquing it, just like how we can kind of do something like that, and it would put everybody in the know of who like kind of like the true and living God, this, that, and the third, in some kind of sense like that, because yeah, like from like 5 mics, or that in regards to like,
I think I know what you're trying to get at, though.
You feel me?
No, I think I know what you're trying. You understand what you're trying like to say, like kind of like in terms of like a publication of.
I mean, I'm part of publications that are doing stuff.
No, I'm talking about specifically for us, like because I think about like a publication, right? That because now you just said that you basically put your books together. You know how to do the books. So instead of it being like a magazine,
honestly, I know how to make everything. I've done magazines, I've done books,
right.
all from scratch.
Right.
But magazines are a pain in the ass because you have to get other people to write for them. But
no, I'm just somebody that's more like within us. I mean, you can have other guest writers.
Absolutely,
and
stuff, I'm with all of that. All I can say is that the places that I work at, everyone else is free reign to come in too. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's a lot of places. People have no idea the forums that I have to bring people to. They just don't. They just don't inquire. You know what I mean? But it's always offered.
So Born King, what you think? Like a monthly? Now it couldn't be monthly. You think monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly? Huh? Yeah, you coming in and out.
Yeah, I'm on the back connection because this Wi-Fi, WhatsApp is kind of bad like that. But that's what I was thinking. Like maybe monthly or maybe quarterly. Quarterly. There's not that many material that's coming out so frequent. So maybe a quarterly type of situation. Where we just critique different materials that's coming out from the gods.
Yeah, that would be so. One of the reasons I never indulge stuff like that because I always wanted what I wrote about the gods and stuff to be an honest and not seem promotional. You know what I'm saying? So even though I'm embedded, that's what I was saying about the Amir Baraka stuff. I'm actually embedded. There's no way to get around it. That's why it was so easy to say, you know what, I can do this music. I'm already embedded. But when I get in there and I write that piece about whatever artist, then I realize that for most of these artists, I know them and I'm rooting for them in some kind of way, and yet I'm still critical of the work, So it would be that same way with that, And by the way, there's so many others. I didn't mention the God. I think he goes by Mr. Atlas.
Okay, yes, okay.
That's another one. I always like to throw the gods. Yeah. Anybody that comes to my mind, I like to throw in. But I write about all these people. They're all written about, and my whole thing was to infiltrate places that honestly will pay me, right? Because you gotta pay me, but also get ourselves in there. You know what I'm saying? Get the gods in there. You know what I'm saying? So like, every god that rhymes though, they should know already that they're on the list. That they should be, they shouldn't be waiting for a mystery god. But if they do wait for one mystery god, it's gonna be me. Because I'm gonna end up writing about it. You know what I'm saying? And from the majority, I'm trying to interview them all the time. if they have consistent work out, you know what I mean? Because that's how magazines work, though. You need to have something out for them to even publish you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Because I remember, not to put my brothers on blast or whatever, but I remember my brothers, I ain't gonna mention their names, but they were like, there's no writing about us, man. What's up?
Yeah.
They really drop anything decent.
It's hard though, right? Because like a magazine won't. But mind you, the magazines that pay me, they really want to see a work that goes out there. It's not fair to the other artists that have work out that I'm gonna interview that could really use the help because they're selling something right now, and so it's a disservice to the guy that actually has work, though. You know what I'm saying? To write about it, because everybody has stories that I could get stories out of anybody that doesn't have work, you know. But it's not fair to the spot for somebody that put their work out, and they could use these sales and notoriety right now for it, you know. But that's the only reason, though. But like, if people ask me, like, they will get, you know, I write about everybody, you know, and my apologies are usually to the few that I miss, though, you know. I will most likely miss multiple releases from an individual than the individual. I usually get almost everybody, but you know, there's always a miss. I'll go through that big ass book the next year, like I did every single year, and I'll be like, damn,
You missed that person.
you know, because you do. Like S18, I didn't know about him. And I was like, yo, this is dope. This is something I would have written about. But he had dope albums last year, and I didn't get him, you know? So, it happens all the time, you know?
Well, I guess that's part of the art of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real world. It's a real world. Yeah.
So you're going to miss certain shit.
Yeah, it's a real world, you know?
You know, where if you're doing something, a certain, double back and say, hey, yo, no, I missed that one, and this one, it should have been here.
Yeah, always.
It should have been.
I always miss something. You know, I always miss something, so I don't get mad anymore. I always miss something. The point is, though, is that if you read my books, if you follow my work, you are most likely going to find the one that I miss. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna find the one that I miss. You know, right? Because listening to the artist or checking out the artist that I write about, that will fix your algorithm. I will fix your algorithm. And your Spotify will lead you to whoever you missed. I missed, because it'll tell you. You know what I'm saying? So if you didn't know, if you follow me, it'll eventually lead to Ras Fresco, even if you didn't read something directly about Ras Fresco. You know what I'm saying? It would eventually, you know. The Sunez algorithm is great. You know what I mean?
Sunez algorithm. Okay.
I will fix the algorithm. You know what I mean? But of course, Ras Fresco, he takes up multiple pages because, you know, he has so much stuff out. You know what I'm saying? He has so much stuff out. You know? I get worried with artists like him because he's what I call an extended verser. So I always worry if I miss something from him, which I probably do.
Because I know there's a Ras Fresco algorithm. You just mentioned Sunez algorithm.
Yeah.
Like, is there a law school in Mecca algorithm? Is there a Born King algorithm? Does that exist?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I can't say that I really paid that much mind.
Like, I don't think following me would get you only 5%ers music. You know what I'm saying? But
as it should.
If people follow the best, I'm gonna keep it clear. If people follow the best of what I call this invisible Renaissance era, which is the best of what people call underground, which really not is the other music, it's the music, and everything, all the other bullshit is the other music. The gods dominate everything. We are in every single cipher. In New York City, every major cipher that you go to, there is a 5%er in it. You know what I'm saying? You know? If you go to the great engineers, like let's say Ches Rocker that does so many albums, you're gonna find 5%ers there, like 07 and others there, you know, and Kasi. You know, like you're gonna see all the ciphers though, you know? If you go up to Rochester, if you go up there, what are you gonna find? Guys right there, like we're pretty much everywhere, you know. Low Lives, we're in there. You know what I mean? Like every cipher that is impeccable, we're in there. Every cipher that's impeccable, you know? So we dominate. Like, listen, is it really possible to listen to quality Canadian hip-hop music and not bump into Born King's algorithm?
Right. You hear that, Born King?
Right? Listen, I bumped into Born King's algorithm with the photographer, the god that was there, taking photos at the Cape Burns Dangerous Ways tour. I was hosting. You know, and I was like, that's the Born King algorithm, though. You know what I'm saying? He out there, like. No, are you? Nobody. I'm telling you this because I follow all of the music. So when I go into Canada, you're gonna bump into Born King's something, Tree, an MC, something. Yeah, that's a. If you know, you know. It's already.
The essence is everywhere.
Yeah, it's impossible now. It's impossible not to.
That's right, man. That's right.
Yeah. So now, like, what I'm saying is this: if you don't like Born King, you better just never listen to Canadian hip hop. Just don't listen to quality Canadian hip hop. Listen to pop Canadian hip hop. Just stick with Drake and the Affiliated. You know, whatever that pulls up for you. Because if you follow good hip hop, you're gonna bump into Born King. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's a wonderful thing because now that that we have core in there. We have a core. You know what I mean? These artists, though, when they need to know the deeper level of these teachings that are all over the music, they're like, what does this all mean? The degrees of separation to us is so small and so few that they can say, listen, I don't have this knowledge. You know? And that's what happens, though. Like, that was Born King, you do that all the time. You're like, yo, this person acts this here, this and I said, well, I'm here. You know what I mean? So like we get bumped into a lot of people. So all I can say is that the artists have the opportunity to learn. Whether they decide to go and be under the study is another thing. But I can tell you that everyone is, if they're saying things with the knowledge, they are more than aware. They are educated to be aware of what they said. Because I'll be like, listen, you said some shit there that made sense, but let me just tell you what that meant because, so there's respect. And, why not though? Why not? An 85er that knows crime enough is going to be like, no, that's not the way you do the things with the keys, That's not what you actually don't take the Pyrex off the stove that quick, you know what I mean? Like, they already know everything about that, and they could critique in genius.com about how the lyrics are wrong, you know what I mean? That's not how you wrap the key in the tape, that's not the proper tape you use, you know what I mean? Like, they know all that now. So we should be able to do that on the other side, you know what I mean? And tell them about this if they find it useful,
No, indeed.
Right. But yeah, this network is going to get stronger with this concert.
Right.
I feel like it's going to make it overt though, So if it's like, me and you, Born King like that, at least they're going to know like this triangle is very potent. You know what I'm saying? Like that triangle, that's what I always mean by triangle of power. That's a Wing Chun thing. About the force of your power goes. The triangle is the base of the triangle is your body, and the punches come to that center line. So when I say triangle of power, that's what that means. We're that triangle of power a lot in hip hop. You know what I mean? A lot of the discourse is coming through us and stuff, and we have that responsibility, and we welcome it. We welcome it, and artists know that aren't in this, that they respect that we have something to share. But they also respect that they can see themselves as God, even if they're not under the study, though, because the black man is God. They can see themselves as that, And if they ever want to go under the study, then they know that, she's here. Because we don't own that term. We don't own that truth. You can't own the truth. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I learned in this. You know what I mean? But as they go, so many great MCs, they respect the insights that we share, whether they don't deal with this like that, or they respect a lot of it, whether it's, the Spit Gems, the Upholding the Legends, all these MCs, they have so much respect for what we do and what we've done that their righteous work is in line with what we're doing, They care about the same streets and the same youth that we care about, So it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. I love it.
So your album, what, it's dropped already?
Yeah, it's dropped already.
It's dropped already.
Yeah, it's Sunez.band. So SunezKing.bandcamp is the 3 albums that me and King did together.
Okay.
Sunez alone, Sunez.bandcamp is where you get the book and the solo album. So I made my solo album a soundtrack for my book, The Zen of Us.
Mhm.
The Zen of Us is something that I wrote when I was 29 years old.
Mm.
So it's crazy because the trials and tribulations, right? A lot, you know, and I said like, this 25th year, right? All these years, people think I came here because I came here professional at all times. They didn't know that I was near homeless, that I was broke, that I didn't have things, that there were years where I really struggled. You know what I'm saying? You just get better at kind of struggling or falling back on being a writer and knowing how to get work easier. But those years around 2004, 2005, I was let go from a publishing company because they went overseas. It was Taylor and Francis they bought out the company I worked for, and so they didn't need editorship. And Taylor and Francis is a British company, so there was I was living off a severance, you know, a severance pay. So I decided to make a martial arts book because I was teaching for a few years and learning for a few years, and in the learning of martial arts, I was also starting to read the ancient texts as a philosophical pursuit to supplement the fighting I was learning. I wanted to learn all the culture. And so I started to read that stuff furiously, addictively. Like, these were the books I was buying, you know? With The Art of War, I may have read at least 30 translations of that. The same with the Tao Te Ching and the Dhammapada, all of these. I love those books. They're very influential in my life. And I wanted to articulate what the martial art way was, but within the vein of the 5% and within the vein of us being warrior teachers out in the street and in the world. All of those places. And of course, me being someone that is creative, right? So, because at the time I'm still working and fighting to try to solidify the hip-hop writer, journalist as a creative element of hip-hop. So all these worlds collide, and I say I'm reading The Art of War, and at the time, my first daughter's mother takes a trip with my daughter. I only have one daughter at the time, to Dominican Republic for a whole month. I'm alone. So I say, this book, The Art of War, the Thomas Cleary translation, is a thick book. It's thicker than the regular translations because he actually translated commentaries from other generals and warriors over the last 100, 500 years to attach them to specific aphorisms that Sun Tzu, the author of The Art of War, wrote. So they became longer. And I was thinking, man, we're the gods. Like, I learned with all the gods with Seagung Bobby Whitaker and Infinite Mind, Knowledge Eternals, King He, Wise Ramel, Knowledge Peace, True Asiatic, A-Zig, all of these were like the core. And Knowledge Peace. And I was like, yo, what if I wrote like my own commentaries to the Art of War? I took time to rearrange the chapters to go along with mathematics, supreme mathematics. I renamed the chapter titles. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna write our experience. Because people don't know that the experience that we had in the 2000s of learning martial arts was that when I learned it, it was suggested to me by Knowledge Peace because we were cleaning the school and I was able to lift heavy garbage bags. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, yo, God, you're in shape, you should learn Kung Fu. And I was like, I don't know about that kicking shit. That's quote what I said to him. You know what I mean? Which ended up, what's funny, the first thing I learned was kicking. You know what I mean? So one day I said, oh, I don't know. But it was in my head. I was watching, it's so music related how I get inspired by certain things. And I was with my twin brother and we were watching in the movie theater Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, with the RZA score. And I found it to be one of my favorite scores ever. I love that score. Not, the soundtrack is good, but there's a score to it that was a Japanese import. I spent the $30 to get that, everything. And when I left the theater, my brother was just rolling his eyes, my brother. And I was like, I gotta do it. I gotta learn Kung Fu with the gods. I gotta do it. You know what I mean? Because Day-Sun introduced me to Knowledge of Turn. I was like, yo, I'm around, I could do this. So I go, and Bobby teaches me for free under the guise that I just work hard. And you don't have to tell me twice. You don't have to tell me twice. Work hard, and he said, do 20 minutes a day of your Kung Fu. So whatever workout routine I had, 20 minutes at the end was that. That's really the formula. You know? And so what happened was that during that time where I was without a job, right? I said, I'm gonna write this book, and I took out all the furniture of the living room, stuff that no man's woman would allow them to do. So I was like, I don't care. It was a big room too, and it had big mirrors and stuff, So I was like, yo, this is gonna be perfect. So I wheeled in the laptop, and I would wheel it out when I trained. Nothing was in there but just me and weaponry and weightlifting stuff and stuff like that, right? And because I always had a home gym. So that was it. And I would train and let the training spark my mind to write the creative aphorisms to respond to Sun Tzu's aphorisms and builds. If I couldn't finish the goal that I set for the day, I would sleep on the floor.
That was the punishment?
I would sleep on the floor. You know what I mean? And sometimes it was all night, I would sleep on the floor. And what I would do is I would constantly just wake up and do Kung Fu and let that creativity try to transmute in there. Because when I write, I often try to transmute things. People have read Think and Grow Rich, and that's where I got the transmuting idea. But you know me, I'm anti-capitalist, so it did not register that way.
When you first heard it,
right? When I first read Think and Grow Rich, right? So not As a Man Thinketh. That's a required text that Savior always makes me give a student. But Think and Grow Rich, I've always been anti-capitalist, so I never used it that way. I used the transmuting principle to say, whatever I create this way, I want to transmute it to the text. So soul music and music that I just feel has always been the way that I try to transmute, try to write like Danny Hathaway. Try to write the way I move. You know what I'm saying? And so I was doing that, and that's how the chapters ended up. But because so many publishers already, and book publishers had rejected my hip hop writings, that I tried to pitch, and because I wasn't working at any magazines, because even I grew tired of the magazines because the magazines refused to publish the creative manner, the way that I wrote, the creative methods. So I was really at a loss. You know what I mean? I was like, if I don't do it myself, they're not gonna let me do it. You know what I'm saying? Double XL's not letting me write the way I want. Vibe certainly didn't let me write the way I wanted. You know what I mean? And if I get into the source, I don't even think that they'll let me. Right? So anyway, the book was written and completed. Right? So the major portions that were left were completed during that month. You know what I'm saying? And before wifey came back and everything, I wheeled everything back in. You know what I'm saying? I got the sofa back in. Even though I did give a good argument that the sofa, none of that furniture should be in there because the baby was small and we could play, I've always been big on a home, especially having little kids, a home having a lot of free space for the kids to roam. Because we live in a city where there's winters, and they need free space, to roam and run. But anyway, I digress. What happened then was, I just kept it. I said, this is my magnum opus. If I never get to write, because publishers weren't coming, magazines weren't letting me write, I was not coveted at that time. So I was like, if I never get to write, at least something will be known that I wrote something with fury and with everything in my heart. You know what I mean? And so, all the creativity and all the mentality that I had. So I left it. And over the years, I just kept it quiet, though. I called it the Zen of Us, from Sun Tzu to Sunez, the art of war from Sun Tzu to Sunez. And I I kept it to myself.
Never
I didn't
posted?
even, never. I never even tried. I never told anybody the title because I didn't want people to bite the Zen of Us because it's my name backwards, but it sounds dope even if it's not named Sunez. And I just kept it like that. And only a few people knew who, like, you know, Infinite Mind, some of my warrior brothers, they knew the name of it. But I never published it. And once I started to make books, it was always on the path. But when I did the 3 albums with King Kamal, while we're making the 3rd album, Burn Silk and Blessed Builds, that album was when he was asking me to start doing my solo album. So that's why some of those songs sound like they could be on the solo album, like Remember to Perfection, and other songs, because I was on that wavelength. But the genius of, you know, my Quincy Kamal is that King Kamal, he knew what type of beats I wanted when I explained to him, I want my first album to be a score for the most important thing I've ever written.
So let me ask you, is he's making the beats himself, or
he knows how to make beats. But
he's
in this case, he used this executive producer. He went to Serious Beats and picked out, didn't even ask me, picked out about 8 beats. You know what I mean? So let me see, almost 7 beats. And he gave me these 7 beats, and I was like, I held him. He's like, yo, check these out. And I was like, yo, these are perfect for what I'm thinking of. Certain songs I had like the chorus and the sentiments, like, will they ever remember us? All I gave was the Zen of Us. I was like, oh, that beat is somber and it fits this. This is angry. This might fit this concept I have about, you know, about being a teacher of pox. You know what I mean? So I was like, this fits that shit. So I had like all these things, and only one beat, all the beats were recorded to, only one song didn't make the album because it was more b-boy vibe, you know? So I left it for another album. But it really told the story, you know? So like the first song, Implement the Tools, that was a song I did after the first album. But because it sounded like such a perfect introduction, you know, peace, the salutations, raising expectations, you know what I mean? I was like, yo, that's a perfect intro. And I called it Implement the Tools because in I'm telling you all the shit that I could do. So I said, that's a perfect intro, so we use that. And King actually did the cuts on that. There's DJ cuts on that. He did that. You know what I mean? So when I say he's an executive producer, he really can produce, you know? And
like really like not so much like well he makes the beats, but he also knows how to go.
Yeah, he really knows how to produce. Yeah,
like, that's really producing.
He really knows how to arrange what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah.
And getting the best out of me too, and making me feel comfortable in that forum. Because I'm going from a forum where I've altered every single thing I could in writing to make it my own. I have broken every single rule to dominate the ciphers of writing I've been in. And so I always feel comfortable. You know what I mean? But with hip hop, I had to learn. I'm in a structured format and stuff like that. You know, it has to rhyme. It has to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when the other songs, they kind of go in order. They're almost in order of how they were made. The Sun Shower, that was a song because I always loved that Sun Shower song from Wu-Tang Forever. That's my favorite hip hop album. And where RZA was talking about like going the high school days, you know, going to Mary Bertram and cutting out and all that kind of stuff. I injected the history we had, walking these, taking back the flags people was selling that wasn't from the station, shit like that. Going to Mount Morris and training with the gods and Seagung Bobby, you know what I mean? Learning all the animal styles and Bianzing. I put all that in there because that was my life. Like, we really did this. We really walked through these Harlem streets with weapons out. You know, so like when people talk about like Kung Fu movies, we walked Harlem with our spears out, poles, swords, all of that shit out because they didn't all fit in book bags. You know what I'm saying? So the 3-section pole staff that Wise had, he held it in his hands a lot of times. You know what I mean? We had chain whips, everything. You know? So every weapon, all the 18 weapons, let's just say, all the 18 weapons, you know what I mean? Like we met, and some of us, we even made up weapons. Like, I remember Knowledge Peace made his own mace, you know what I mean? He made a like ball and chain mace, you know? And it was effective too, like it was dangerous. So we was really, we was really on it though. So we really lived this kung fu. So the Zen of Us, so in that sunshine, I tried to show the daily life and the reality. Other songs like Teacher of Pox, just the aggression of teaching so many different types of students. They all have a different personality. They're all contradictory. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know that when you teach a lot of students, you deal with all of their failures too, and the sadness of their failures too. Their death, them going to jail, them losing their jobs, them losing their spouses, losing their homes, dying. I've had students die on me. You know what I'm saying? So it's all those things that I was trying to express with Teacher of Pox. You know what I mean? You have students that do bad, lie to you, still you have to scold. That was the aggressive cut. One of the aggressive cuts.
Students you have to run from amongst you.
that too, yeah. Kick them out. Exile students, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, all of that, you know what I mean? So then there's the inscription too, where I really tried to really poetically share what it feels like to teach people and to take them from a point of ignorance to a point of knowing, and how that is also a dangerous world to be in. You know what I'm saying? Once you expose people to civilization and righteousness, you've changed their world, but your world has changed more, because the more that we teach God, the more that we are immersed as warriors in this struggle. So I tried to express that in that inscription song, and that song, man, that was what really King was. He sang on that, and it took it to another level.
With King?
He sings on that song, and he made me do that song a million times. He would call me back up and be like, God, it's not quite right. Like, he would do that. And it was really a training ground for me, And the thing, like I said, look, when you find mentors, learn how to learn with them. Because with everyone that taught me martial arts, right, MCing, how to teach here, there were much trial and error and many wrong answers in the assignments, and had to go back and re-edit. And a lot of people that's why I said a lot of people are not used to mentorship, don't have it, so they're not used to it. You have to be comfortable with going back with a failed grade. You know what I mean? Like one time, I was doing roundhouse kicks, so Seagung stood like where this wall is, and he told me to roundhouse him and bang his chest. And he told me harder, do it harder, stronger. And I was going as hard as I could, and he was like, no good. Other students were coming in. I was there early, and he said, no good. And I said, I can do better, teacher. It was like, cool. And he said, no, go home. And I was sent home. And for like 2 weeks though, I was just depressed every time I worked out. But when I came back though, those kicks were flying. Like I was putting the whole hip, everything into it. You know what I mean? And he just gave me a nod. He didn't, you know what I mean? So
no approval, just like
yeah, he taught me something else. That's why I knew I had it right. But so it's that kind of mentorship. You got to get used to it. So with making the inscription too, that was my turn to again be under that kind of mentorship, and it really taught me about the pockets. Taught me about my flow, because people hear my flow as a spoken word or a rhyming flow, like if a fluctuating flow. Right. And so now I have to learn how to use it in multiple ways. You know what I mean? And some songs, their BPMs are kind of in the middle. So they're not as easy the way that I do it. And then Kobe, it was kind of a statement, keep on building everywhere. That was the statement, Kobe. And so I was talking about actually fighting out there in the street, but then also fighting the mentality, the warfare that we go through. And of course, the title track, that title track was that we teach God, but a lot of people don't appreciate that we're doing this. Right. You know, our families they don't really understand what we've really done. Like, out of many, like me and you, we have physical things that we could show, like how we talk. Like we have physical, like the last journalistic piece you did about the Japanese MC, that was incredible. You know, don't tell me you're not a journalist, right? And
Yeah.
So we have physical things to show, like how we taught the world or brought the world together, right? I have books, I have these classes, but most 5%ers, they don't have that. So a lot of elders, right, they live a life like Najee, and you don't know that they was a legend in the streets, that they was legends out there. Like people live their whole life based on a few days with them, you know? A few days with them. Not all of them got to be seen or put in like on the forefront like a Papa Wu. Like we would go, yeah, Papa Wu was a legend though. But he was a legend before Wu.
Right.
You know, like, and we got to see how dope he was because we saw the products. We got to see the charisma of the build. You know what I mean? And so me and you, we kind of have that benefit where people will see for posterity how we actually build. And that's the gift that you're also giving many other gods. But most of the gods don't have that. So they basically have, like, for a lot of the populace, they see, that's a man that could have been something. There's like a whole part of his life that's empty. They have no idea what he filled it with. You know what I mean? So then, you know, so it's like, a lot of my family, they didn't see how impactful this was. And then they're like, damn, you kind of have like a whole bunch of shit on lock. And like, yeah, you know, like, we was really out there. Like, we was really out the streets, you know what I mean? But they don't get to see that. They don't understand it. And with the Zen of Us, that's why I said, will they ever remember us? All we gave was the Zen of Us. The Zen is like the beauty, the beauty of balance, the equality that we gave the world. Because that's what Zen is, that balance of equality. And we give that equality. We give the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of us all the time. You know? And so in that song, I tried to express that. And it's a homage to my daughters. Because in the second verse, I go, you know, venerated mood, light, and sacred soul. My daughters' names are Luna, Luce, and Alma. Moonlight and soul, that's their names. You know what I mean? And in the song, I even go through a build. I have a plus lesson that I call the 3 perfect principles that a man should have. And that's in the book, The Zen of Us. Like, it's inside there, embedded. But the 3 perfect principles are originality, creative originality, honor, your word is bond, and full of brightness, where if you could make every action that you live, your culture, every aspect of your life, be a reflection of your understanding purely. Because there's an art to that. So those, to me, I always wrote as the 3 perfect principles, and that's written like an ancient text. And I made that. So that's one of the best examples of how the book is written, and then how the album is reflecting as a soundtrack of the book. You know what I mean? And the last song is really me, spoken word, but I'm playing the role of a kung fu movie master, like the abbot in the temple. And so I do the whole voice like, well now, you know what I mean? And I let this whole science of the whole kung fu, but Infinite Mind is the disciple that lashes out and fights in the world. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a way that propulses how dynamic Infinite Mind is as an MC. And so I liken it to like the, you know, that's the Bible song on my Liquid Swords album. You know what I mean?
Basically,
and he's killed a priest, you know? He's killed a priest. Like you want to see how dynamic and forceful and projecting Infinite Mind is, then, you know, you hear it on the song. But there's a lot of science in there. It's very heavy. You know? Yeah. But that's the album. That's the album. You know what I mean? And I have everything, so I know what people are throwing in things. So
no music videos.
You know, I don't know. It would be totally awkward for me to do a music video, but maybe. You know what I mean? You know what's funny is that the only music video clip I have is of my youngest daughter, because she is making music and makes music with me. We have songs that we're gonna do. There's one song for my next album we're gonna do together. That's really crazy. But she invented the concept because it's a part 2 of her song, not mine.
Okay.
That, you know, so it's really great. But she has she'll make videos of making fun of me. She has whole videos of her making fun of me. So they're kind of funny though. So that's the only music videos I have right now. She'll be like, Bobby, can I make a video of you? and she'll take like some Polo or like weapons that I allow her to hold, and she'll be like, she'll do my voice because a lot of times my voice is very gruff on songs, and she'll like, will they ever remember us? All we gave was the Zen of Us. Like she'll do that, you know. I didn't release it because she's been doing this for like the last year, but nobody heard the song yet, so they wouldn't get it. You know what I mean?
This is the youngest you're talking about.
Yeah, my youngest. Yeah. She's hilarious.
Wow.
You know? But she loves music too. You know what I mean?
That's dope.
She loves music too.
That's dope.
You know, very funky too. She's making beats too. Like on the keyboard, the Casio, she'll make rhythms. You know.
As she like 10?
She's 10, yeah.
10 years old.
She's
Okay,
10,
yeah.
So she'll do stuff. And for those that she was on, she intros Remembered Imperfection on the third album I did with King Kamal, Burnt Silk and Blessed Builds. You know. But again, it's been a wonderful experience because it's opened my daughter to do what she has wanted to do. Because then when I started making music with King Kamal, she told me, you know, I really want to be a singer. So I was like, really? I didn't know that you were that serious. And you sing all the time, but you know, kids sing. They sing things all the time. You know, and I'm playing music all the time, so I'm not thinking that, you know, you want to be a singer. You know, look, my oldest daughter used to love music and sing, but she became a chef. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got to tell me. But that's how I found out. So it's been a wonderful thing because it's been a thing that we bond with a lot now. You know what I mean? Among many things, but we bond definitely on the music. You know?
Yeah. So now, all that we doing, man, I'm really like looking forward to taking things to the next level, man. You know, a lot of respect for you, man. Like I said, you said 4 albums now, right?
4 albums, yeah. Mantras Across the Medinas. I'm forgetting the name of the second one. Is and I named it too. What the hell is the name of the second one? It's got True Cypher's logo in the front. The Unlearn, that's the second album.
Okay.
And King calls that my Fife Dog album because I really rhymed on that the most. You know, like where I really I left the spoken word behind.
The
you know?
second one I was like, wait, no, this guy's rhyming.
Because certain songs like I love the way like Never Respect Fate, for example, when the first album came out, but I wasn't comfortable with the beat, so I just did a spoken word on it though. I didn't really know how to get it out. Even though the whole thing rhymes, it's really done in the spoken word flow. But throughout the Unlearn, I just rhymed, you know what I mean? Burnt Silk and Blessed Builds, I rhymed predominantly throughout, but there was some intros that he asked me to spoken word. Like that was his arrangement request because he arranges everything and I go with what he's saying on how he's producing and putting it all together, you know? But on Zen of Us, I really worked to rap on all of it. Just the tempo's different, so it'll sound like I did. But it's all different tempos, you know what I mean? Different tempos, you know? And trying to do my best with them, you know?
Now this one, you said this is serious.
Serious Beats did all the one, except the bonus cut, Wait for the Man. Serious Beats did the whole thing. The God King, there's 2 beats that make up the bonus cut. And Venomous 2000 and King He, the God King He, did that for Fire Log and music, you know?
Dope.
So, but Serious Beats is really something, man. You know? They have so much emotion, soul, orchestration in them, you know? Very filled body, the beats that he has, you know? So it's fun. Now I'm doing a second album now, but mainly with True Cypher beats, you know? Yeah, with True Cypher beats, because
I need to get on. Since you're doing too much work without me, man.
You're
doing too much work without me too.
Oh, man.
I gotta get in at least one joint, man.
And there's so many people that they're so great that they ask me to do songs with them that I'm working on. So you know, it's really nice. You know what I mean?
No, I mean we got too much of this Lost Little Mecca thing going on that we gotta do one of at least an EP, man, 3-4 songs.
Oh yeah, man, I would love that. Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah. So
that would be awesome. I'm with that 100%. Man.
Let's make that happen.
Yeah, I'm with that.
But I want to ask you one last question, though, man. What do you think? Did you see the thing that me and Warren King did with the Rakim gun?
I did, yeah.
Okay, what now? Your opinion I want to know what your opinion is. Like, what do you think about the whole shebang, man?
You know, I guess he may have been awkwardly expected. I thought King Sun jumped in awkwardly at times, and and maybe you guys didn't always have the synergy. But it's hard to do a try interview,
right?
It's very hard. I've never done one. You know what I mean?
Right. No, King Sun, he was very disruptive.
Yeah.
But I actually expected that.
Yeah,
I expected that
because what's interesting, guy, right? Is that I don't know how Born King sees it, but I feel like King Sun saw it like a cipher as opposed to an interview. It's different ethics. Not ethics, but a different styling in how you engage.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is because the night before I had come up, Born King and I had built and I had come up with some questions, and I sent the book to King Sun, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I like this." And I don't think he's gonna answer this, and I don't think he's gonna answer that, but okay. But then when he gets there, he's like, "Nah, you shouldn't." I was like, "Yo, we spoke the night before. What are you talking about, man?"
Yeah. That's what make it seem like he just came in and I got this Zoom link. I'm gonna get on. I was like,
"What are you doing, man?" But I don't know.
But as far as the content, look, M80 has been very productive and successful in releasing quality work. You know what I mean? However, as a journalist, though. You know what I'm saying? He cannot deny, and nobody can because everybody has this, but there's only one promoter or behind-the-scenes person, A&R, in this invisible renaissance, the last 20 plus years, in my experience, though, that is flawless, though. And that was my brother, Doc Ock. You know what I'm saying? I've never met a promoter or anyone else that was doing records, A&Ring, you know what I'm saying, that people said that didn't have a problem with them on some level. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that. Because
they didn't have a problem.
I'm a journalist is a collector of reports. Doesn't mean that they're true or not, but they're a collector of reports. I don't snitch in my reporting. And the way a journalist doesn't snitch is by sharing things that are not proven. You know what I mean? But they collect enough though, so I already know that not everyone agrees when M80 says that M80 is a flawless builder as an A&R and a money pot, a righteous money pot for everyone. I'm just saying that not to have, because I don't want to see a post from M80 or anybody else though, because when it comes to the connection of A&Rs and journalism in this independent era, you know what I mean? Very few of these A&Rs though ever did anything for the independent journalists though. They did very little, and there's no A&R, including M80, that can say that they ever helped out me give your artist their best interview, knowing that I'm the best. Because if they didn't know that I existed, you fucked up, and I did it. I know about you, you didn't know about me, you fucked up. So, saying that, because I have done enough contacting where they were being A&R'd by them, you know what I'm saying? So people like Planet Asia and others, I had to do the legwork myself. I didn't get any help though. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get any help. The closest that M80 ever did anything, I don't know if he did this directly, it might have been Dreddy Kruger's people in that label, was when I was at the Source magazine and I was given the indie best of 2005 because they didn't want to give me anything else. And so I was the one that put Monkey Bars and Sean Price as one of the best records of the year in 2005, along with AZ's album that year, and I picked Wu-Tang Meets Indie, the record he's mentioning, because what made that record great was not M80's work. I'm just saying, it's always with the work. Like, it's not the manager, it's the players. It was Bronze Nazareth's production and MCing that was the new thing, that was the new fresh sound that was on that record. I don't care what anybody says. It wasn't that they got Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Raz Kass to do a great verse, Jizza to do a great verse. The binding element of that album was the birth, the the introduction of, to me, who's one of the greatest poets of this time and one of the great producers, Bronze Nazareth. And I will argue that forever. But they got a whole bunch of copies to the source, and I was able, but I already had the album.
Okay.
But because they heard that I liked the album, they went and got a whole bunch of copies. And I remember it was the guy that was also doing promotions for an indie collection called The Reavers. If you really know, Don Pacino was on that, Hassan Salam, a lot of other guys. So just in case people think, because M80, he's one of those petty guys, just know, if you were that promoter, you would have brought that. But anyway, the point being though is that,
Petty guys.
no, I'm just saying, I know a lot of history. I know a lot of history. You know what I'm saying?
Everything is good.
Peace to the guy.
Peace. What's around?
I saw him. I don't know if he's still
He was here. He was. I don't know if he's still here.
Well, I'm gonna leave this at the desk and just let him know. Rakim had hit me up earlier talking about, yo, you were around and somebody ODing in the middle of the street, right?
Oh shit.
So, Narcan.
Oh, okay.
Narcan for the school. I'm gonna just show y'all real quick so that y'all know how to do it. Gloves is in here. Little sanitary thing to wipe yourself down if one of these dope fiends gets the booger snotters on your hands. Single-use Narcan packs. You literally stick it in their nose, push the red button. That's filming? Cool. The white part goes in the nose, you push the red button, so you literally just like, yo, knock them a little couple times. Yo, you sleeping or you fiending out, you know what I mean? And then when you realize that they dying, you don't want the kids to find that shit, right? That's horrible. So the white part, you just stick it in their nose, and then you push the little red button, wait a couple seconds. If they don't wake up, each bag comes with 2 packs, right? So there's no possible way to OD on Narcan. Like, you cannot OD on Narcan. You cannot give a person too much of this shit. So if they don't wake up after the first one, use the second one. If they don't wake up after the second one, third one, fourth one. If they don't wake up at all, check their pockets, see if you get a little money, and be the fuck out. Call, if you gotta call 911,
Right,
make sure that you specify medical, because you do not want the drug dealers going to jail. That creates a power vacuum, and that's how you get gang wars. So, that's real shit though, right?
Right.
So yeah, let me not interrupt though.
No, that's peace.
Yeah, I know what y'all doing. I'm gonna put this.
I see the dog. So Shaqua's is right around.
Yeah, he's most like, he's here then.
You think maybe he on back?
Possible, yeah.
Yeah, let me go poke my head out there. If not, I'll figure out something.
Yeah, but as far as M80, more than not, I have heard that he has done well for the artists. I'm talking about their livelihood as artists, though. I personally, though, I feel like he's giving himself too much credit because a lot of the artists that he has, they already knew how to make incredible records. You know what I'm saying? So Planet Asia just needed to learn how to get more money. He didn't need to know how to make a greater record, though. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so that goes into that.
That's my thought. That's my thought. All of the artists that he had, I don't see. He didn't need to help Cannabis make a great record. That's the records that Cannabis was going to make. In fact, like say the record that Cannabis did, produced by Bronze Nazareth. I give that credit, as much credit to Bronze Nazareth, focusing him with those beats and with the concepts. But that's also Cannabis's, development over the years, making so many albums. He knows that when people don't want to ramble so much and have more focus, right? And make more of a songwriter's approach as opposed to just having endless bars. So I feel like that's the artists themselves. Like artists that are independent, they have A&R themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but he's done some significant work in making the project bigger.
Yeah.
Right, so
with the Rakim and stuff, I give him much credit for the legwork, and there's stuff that he's not telling us, and that makes it worthy as an A&R. Because Rakim did not have an album, so whatever was stopping Rakim from making an album, it is most likely he helped cut those weeds. You know what I'm saying?
That's why he basically said that.
We know that he didn't help Rakim be a great musician.
That's why he said he feels more accomplished than Dre.
Right. So yeah, because
so you agree with him?
No, because I disagree. I think that's a bad example, because what we know is Rakim's main issue with Dre was that he was trying to have him speak about certain things that he lived, but he doesn't want to engage in.
Right.
More violent things that happen and less positive things. So it's about content. When 80 says it insinuates that he was the only person that was going to let Rakim rhyme or produce the way he wanted to. I don't think that's the case. I think anybody any record label in the underground would be happy, and if they had the money, happy to let Rakim do whatever the hell he wanted. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what you want to do, Rakim.
Whatever.
But if they count as 8 songs or whatever, you give me whatever you want. Right? And he goes, do you want to produce? You produce. You know what I'm saying? It's Rakim. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not anybody else.
Do you think anybody thought to do that? Like, because
that's also where I would give M80 some credit. It's possible that no one ever said, yo, you should just make an album producing and feature yourself and produce great MCs. Because in that procuring, that's where M80 shines, because he really can get all the guys that you saw. You know, so you got to give M80 the credit. The thing is, though, is that, listen, what people have to admit, though, is that M80 is Jewish. Let's keep it real. M80 is Jewish, and Jewish people in the music industry have a silver tongue and long pockets that do not reach black people. The beginnings of hip-hop were not Sugar Hill Gang, and it was not Sugar Hill Gang Records. You know what I'm saying? And Sylvia Robinson. The beginnings of hip-hop were a lot of bad records, middling records, being recorded by hustling Jews in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? There were a lot of hustling Jews in the Bronx, and they were getting the word out. And they were recording a lot of records that were not making it, or they just didn't resonate. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward, there's a lot of blood-sucking attached to that ethnicity, whether people want to admit it or not. The way M80 talks, though, fast, feeling like it's jive talks, right? It's clever talk. He's got the silver tongue. M80 knows, and M80 used to MC. M80 used to MC. On the projects with a lot of the first albums, like the Almighty album. Go look that up, the Almighty album. C. Ray's Walls is on it. Bronze shines again on it. I don't know if Kevlar 7, Remembered in Perfection, my brother Kevlar 7, brother to Bronze Nazareth, I don't know if he was on it. But there was a lot of guys on it. And it was a great compilation. So he always knew how to get the great MCs. And he was on it a lot too. You know, he wasn't so good on it though. But anyway.
Right.
But the thing is that M80 has the silver tongue that we see not only in real life, but in every cliche that we see of the record label guy. I'll make you a star. You know what I mean?
No. So
right?
actually,
he has the exact way of him. But
how does that look like?
So I'm saying, when people listen to him, they're thinking like, oh, he screwed this thing up about the flag and this and that. I felt after the interview, I thought it was thorough enough that for one, I didn't think that. And you know why I don't? Because I put the onus on Rakim. Rakim is destined, once he uses the flag on anything, he is destined to make some kind of mistake. Why? Because Rakim's way of dealing with this knowledge, I disagree 1,000%. Rakim,
from his book.
Right. Yeah. I wrote a long article on it, so he goes, oh, you hate no Rakim. Well, who are you? You're a failed rapper. I already see the comments.
You you're a failed rapper.
Yeah, I already
You didn't even start until you got bored with other stuff.
No, but I see that written to me when I criticized the Wu. And I didn't criticize, I said they're not all under the study.
Right.
That's a fact.
That's not a criticism. Yeah, that's
no,
a fact.
it's a
They
truth.
openly admit to being.
And I'm like, yo, I was with Papa Wu. He was telling me they're not all under the study. So I'm like, yo. But anyway, with Rakim in his book, he said that he didn't go with any enlightenment or anyone to teach him, because he didn't use the word enlightenment or even educator the way we say it, but that he would go according to his own, because he didn't want to be led in the wrong direction, and the direction that he felt he needed to go into. But this is not that kind of teaching. This is literally the same kind of teaching as me trying to learn martial arts. What Rakim did was he learned karate the way Ralph Macchio was in the first, when he first meets Mr. Miyagi, and Miyagi fixes the sink. He's learning and doing kicks from the book.
Yeah.
And Mr. Miyagi is going, oh, you learn karate. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing kicks from a book. Ain't nobody...
I mean, he ended up being the ambassador, though. He's the public face of us, though.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, though, is that
that's
because he's such after you read his autobiography and see what he was saying, Rakim is even more of a genius than I thought.
Really?
Because to really understand this knowledge self without ever going to an elder consistently,
That's
Wait,
true.
not only that, like
Because I didn't really
look
start
at
getting
his
certain
albums,
things
though.
until I started
the
going
lack
to
of
people like Jay Son.
the lack of his mistakes though are very few, and the positivity and the sincerity that he shared this is monumental. And plus, though, musically he changes lyricism. Everybody that rhymes after him is embedded to him in some way, including myself. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, when you look at him next to his peers, like that thing in Coney Island on Saturday,
Yeah.
he was miles ahead of his peers because they're playing. Look, MC Light is dope. You cannot argue that MC Light is not dope.
But what he was
But when the
doing on
music
Pain
came
Full,
on, it sounded
and-
dated.
yeah.
When he came on, it did not sound
just
dated.
next level. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't get people like Prodigy without Rakim. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't get Ka without.
Yeah.
We don't get Jizza. You know, like, you don't get any of this stuff without Rakim. So, what I'm saying is that I think the eras with the flag, that's also something that could have been just Rakim's era. You know what I mean? Remember, like,
Well, how much
you know
control
what was,
did he have
you know what
over
was
that,
missed
though?
in the video? You know what was missed in the video that I just thought of? The way the flag was on that 12-inch, because now he says it is a 12-inch, right? A 12-inch single, right? The way it looked on a 12-inch though was the same way it looked on his Gucci, on his jacket, on the second album.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader.
But how much control over his
He
covers did he have?
said that he did, because I don't know if you saw the interview.
Nah, I didn't see the interview.
Okay, so
Yeah, he said he never got to show him that because they didn't have time for him to show that cover.
Because I actually am inclined to kind of believe that story just from my own personal dealings with indie labels. Like,
They
I was
would do
dealing with
stuff.
an indie label that tried to censor me, and I'm like, you can't censor, like, you're distributed through Sandbox. You can't censor me. Like, I can call Ed myself.
You're the only guy I know. You're the only guy I know that remembers Sandbox Automatic though. Yo, those guys were good peoples though. They used to have a show in Baruch. Yeah.
But that's my thing, is like, I had an indie label that was distributed through Sandbox trying to censor me, so if an indie label was going to do that at that point, it's just 20 years ago.
People will try, yeah.
Yeah, and that was over the comic characters.
Because what happens is that when you do a label or you're an A&R, I'm not saying this is M80, I'm saying whether you have a label or you're an A&R, there's almost a 90% chance that you're in some part of that person's legacy as an A&R or an owner of a label that they feel like they're entitled to have some say on the person's record. It
that's
just
what I'm
happens
getting
all the
at.
time.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, do you
know?
really think? Because
Like for example, like the story of Madlib's history. When Madlib did yesterday's new quintet, that's technically funk jazz, and he abandoned all hip hop. Now, me, I have looking back and listening to all this stuff, it makes total sense why Madlib got bored. There was a format to everything that he was doing with Loot Pack and the first Quasimodo albums.
Let me call you back.
Right? There was a format of boom bap that he was doing that he perfected, and it was boring. And I can see how it got bored to him. But the label was questioning like, yo, we signed you on to do this hip hop shit. Don't be thinking that you could do this. Right? Like, I'm not saying that we know Stone Zero didn't go that far. But at some point, labels will feel like they have a right to say, like, yo, we didn't pay you to do that.
Yeah, they will try to take over.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's well and good, though. That's on your own personal time, though. But you need to give us that shit that the heavy shit.
That's why he said,
you know?
hip hop needs a me. That's you heard him say like hip hop needs me.
Yeah.
Like
Who Madlib said that?
no.
No,
M80 said that.
M80 said that. Like
What? Okay, so I don't really know. I never met the man. I don't know him personally,
Yeah.
and I know very little about him professionally.
Honestly,
what about him does hip hop need?
I will say this though. Me looking at it the most nice way, I agree. They need A&Rs because remember M80.
okay.
You know what I said the thing that M80 is supposed to know about me? He doesn't because he's only dealing with the underground that is graduated. That they make a certain amount. The underground that could most likely make a near living
Like the
without working the 9 to 5.
The
So he's
mid-tier.
not looking at the great MCs that don't even do this full time. Spit Gems, Bad Seed, all of those that are making records that are their best records of their career. You know what I'm saying? So he's not all the way throughout the underground. He doesn't even see everything. You know what I'm saying? He's finding out.
Right?
Yeah, he's like, he's a better Peter Rosenberg. Peter Rosenberg finds out about people that I'd let him find out. Now I'm just saying it like that. I just want to say it like that.
I'll let you find out about that.
I'm just kidding. But he finds out about stuff I already talked about. You know what I'm saying? And I know that some of these people that they go in and they read my stuff or they got the books on the low and they find out.
The A&R to the A&R.
Yeah. So, but they deal with those who have graduated and might have a career that could be on a certain money level that could give me a good show or a good notoriety. You know what I'm saying? And give me my props as hardcore. This is what the Rosenbergs, the M80s, this is the world that they're in. So it has to make a certain amount of level. There is no artist that M80 really put on that was an absolute gamble. That we don't know if it'll blow up yet. You know what I'm saying? So today's Estinac, you see what I'm saying? Not 2016's. Right when I was saying the way this man is writing now is going to launch. And Estinac knows because that's what I wrote in 2014-15.
So then,
You know what I'm saying? They M80 doesn't sign those people. And they don't have a record. Rosenberg doesn't put those people on his show. They don't have a record of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I could talk like this, because I have a record of finding people that become incredible before they're incredible. You know what I mean?
So
you know?
What do we need M80 for then?
To help make those guys that are blowing up though in the semi-world make more money.
But then we
And
don't
so
need him.
when
we
I
just
hear
need a mid-tier
when I hear
A&R.
those MCs, a lot of them are good peoples with me. They're happy with the money they're making, and so I'm happy with them.
So, but that's my.
You know what I mean?
So my
So
I'm
that's
happy
about
with that.
the value, you know, because what do you
There's
value?
value.
What do you value?
But
Do you value?
value.
So here's my question though, right? So like, if what he's doing is so you're okay. How do I put this? You're the scout that goes to the high school games, right? You go to the high school games and you see who
Right.
are we putting in these colleges,
Yeah.
so that they can maybe one day go to the NBA.
I knew that Curry was not just a shrimpy little kid.
You know what I mean? So okay, so we definitely need the high school recruiters, right? Because these kids need to go to college if they want to go to the NBA. That's just how it is. You can't draft them out of high school no more. You have to go to college now to get to the NBA. So we need the high school recruiters, and we need the NBA recruiters. The college recruiters then are kind of like the mid-level go-betweens. My question is, do we need specifically M80? Or can pretty much anybody do that job if what they're doing
But but nobody is doing that job.
No.
Nobody
It's
is
a
doing
job
that
that is well suited to M80. Here's
Okay,
why.
yeah, see, that's my
It's
question.
suited to M80 because M80 has a history of respecting the music.
Okay, yeah, that's really what
Right?
That's
That
what I'm
records
getting at.
really come out great.
He's not Jerry Hellering the shit.
Right. At the same time, though, as far as an A&R and saying, I think this guy, because he does do this, I think this guy would sound great on this song, or putting these two guys together would be great, and then getting them to agree on it. MCs of a certain level, I'd be like, nah, I don't wanna do a song
Yeah,
like
I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? Right? So like there's certain MCs like, yo, it was wonderful to me that when Napoleon asked me to do a song, who I consider more of a higher tier, like he lives off this, and he wanted me to do a song, and he was like, yo, Sky Zoo's gonna be on it. I was like, yo, Sky Zoo cool with that? You know what I mean? Skyzoo knows me, but I was like, damn, and he was real peace with it. And he got lots of love for me, so I'm not saying that Skyzoo thinks I'm trash.
You sure?
But Skyzoo has a lot of love for me, but like, he was peace with it. But you have to see with the MC, are they peace with that? You know what I'm saying? But he's really good at getting those combinations, so he has great relationships, and he forged those relationships. So during the 2000s, right, in an era when a lot of people in his position would have done a lot of sellout shit. 2000s was an era of selling out, and he's stuck with a lot of the hardcore, the real hardcore. Like, you know what? He was always standing by Cannabis's career. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
And yeah.
Okay.
So all those albums that Cannabis was doing, he's behind them. And you know,
see, I didn't know that.
We ought to be grateful for that, because all over the underground and everybody, every time Cannabis made a mistake, they were like, oh yeah, see, he messed up, because they were like, he's supposed to be the ambassador for this, and he ruined it. Oh look, remember the fiasco when
designated that
when
anyway.
he pulled out a notebook in the freestyle battle,
Yeah.
people tried to trash him, and I was like, yo,
All that means is he didn't memorize these
Yeah,
verses
and
yet.
I'm like,
Everybody's spitting stuff
first
they wrote
of
in
all,
advance.
the legacy of Cannabis isn't a freestyle battle. He's an incredible recording artist. Like, why do we have to? How can he be trash for that? You know what I'm
Also,
saying?
you can't freestyle the type of stuff that he rhymes. Like,
Yeah, like nobody.
you have to memorize the whole encyclopedia.
If you freestyle that, you're going off your verses. Like, you're going off your notebook that's in your head.
Yeah,
like, it's not really,
like
made
real
up.
freestyling is when say, oh, Sunez got the white shirt, like doing that type of shit.
Yeah.
And that's corny half the time. Like that doesn't really come off after a while. That's a good party trick. But that's
You
about
know who
it.
could do it? CF, Constant Flow.
Yeah.
He could do it, where it actually is not stupid and it's amazing. But very few could do that. But that was really the thing. Like, I consider M80 extremely valuable and worthwhile. But I'm saying the package that he's in, we keep it real. The Jewish package that he's in and the way that he talks, if you don't know who he is, it sounds like he's I got these guys and did them, you know? And
You gotta get started, kid!
Yeah.
You know, Rakim, I get you back on your feet. We'll get you back on your feet. I'm here for your second chance, buddy. You know? This is...
They're in a weird place as a group too, because they've been victimized by a lot of shit, and they've also been the people to victimize others about a lot of shit, and they're not. They've been able to put themselves in a position of white privilege because they will collectively work together.
You see the white privilege, because I see there's a post that M80 put up where he's talking to Rakim. And the way Rakim is looking at him, you can actually see in Rakim's eyes that he knows that M80 is going to get him the bag.
Wow.
You can see just the way he's looking. It's like, wow.
It's like a hooker looking at a sailor.
Listen, for him, M80, like I said, I say the invisible renaissance from the 2010s onward, right? I call the 2000s the dark ages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when all the media became big, thick Vogue magazine, and they only cared about pop rappers. Eminem was the GOAT, and I was there. I was there at Double XL when certain black folk was telling me this debut album, not even the second one, this debut album is gonna make him the GOAT. And I was like, are you fucking serious?
So they're manufacturing.
And I said, did KRS-One die? Did Rakim die? Like, you know what I mean? So they were already ready to leech. That's why I call the media the leeches. They leech onto the artist that's being leeched, you know? And in those dark ages, the A&Rs went the same way. They were leeching on to who's going to succeed, and in the beginning, M80 looked super shady. Very, very weak rapper to me, as far as technique or just sound. And he was rapping along with everybody that he was finding and hooking up. So it seemed like a play for himself. He was Benzinoing. He knows that he was Benzinoing the records. He was Benzinoing the records, though. You know what I mean? And I could say that because I know he was doing that. And when I left the Source magazine, Benzino was peace with me. So I even left on good terms with Benzino. So it wasn't like, you know what I mean? But Benzino was like, yo, if you're doing it, I'm going to be on the shit. He was doing that the Almighty album. He's on the cuts, you know what I mean? So he's on cuts rhyming between C. Ray's Walls and Killer Priest.
I wouldn't
You
wanna
think
go
that's a
between
fair
those
pick
two.
at the level that Ray's was on in 2000, and at the level Killer Priest
Yeah, if
has
you're
always
not a
been
real
on?
MC, I wouldn't want to be sandwiched in between
You
those
don't
two.
sandwich yourself between them, like
But that is a tactical thing because
right.
no one's gonna skip. You're gonna skip the last verse. Maybe you'll skip
Right,
the
right.
first verse,
But
but you're not
it's
gonna
also
skip the
very-
middle verse.
it's
You're
all-
too busy driving.
It's the way to not get skipped, but it's also the way to be arrogant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But and trust me, he didn't bring it the way the other two did, so I could critique. But the thing was, during the 2000s, all the A&Rs were looking for white hopes. All the black
Before the
producers,
2000s.
all the black producers were looking for their white MC. They were looking for their white MC. During that time, it became harder for so-called Puerto Ricans to rhyme because all the black American artists were looking for their white hope. And if they deny that, they're a bunch of fucking liars, and it's only because their white artists that they chose didn't blow up. But the model that Dre re-blew up his career, you know what I'm saying, was through the white hope. And it worked that way, and everybody else was looking for them. Now they're looking for Cage. Now they're looking for everybody that's white, giving them a chance. Oh,
Okay,
let's,
Cage should have
you
blown
know,
up.
let's
back
look
then.
for High and
Like, he
Mighty.
was
Yeah,
better than Eminem was.
absolutely. Yeah, and
Like
with
that
yeah.
League
But what I'm
Brothers
saying,
album
at
was
that time,
crazy.
at that time, there were a lot of white MCs that were genuinely getting props.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned Cage, High and Mighty, those kind of guys.
Yeah.
They genuinely had props. Like, they didn't just do jingles, you know, and just come on. They were rhyming for real. You know what I mean? The LPs, you know what I mean? LP was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, LP was the
Yeah.
poster boy for
Yeah.
underground hip hop.
Because he was way better than Eminem.
LP is like almost like a reverse of
Yeah.
like black dudes looking for the great white hope because
Yeah.
LP has a very specific formula that if he sticks to it,
Yeah.
you're guaranteed good music.
Right.
And that formula is fat black dude. Think about it. When he works with skinny black dudes, it doesn't work that well.
Yo, you too funny.
He needs a specifically, like, it gotta be like a fat black with vast air. Right? Killer Mike.
What about in company?
Mr. Len.
Mr. Lenny.
I get that he's Dominican, but
Yeah,
I'm not going by the Dominican definition of any black.
but Mr. Len was not, you know.
He's not that Dominican.
No, he's not that fat. I was saying.
He
He's
was
not.
punching. Come on, he had some cheeks on him. His little brother was a keyboardist of mine for a while.
Yeah.
His little brother was a keyboardist of mine for a while.
Yeah.
Phenomenal on the keys.
Yo,
too.
peace to Mr. Len. Such a talent, man.
Yeah, peace to his brother Matt, man.
Yeah, real peace, brother, man. You know what I mean? But you know the thing is that everybody was looking for their white MC. You know what I'm saying? And then that's where you got lesser MCs that were white coming on and stuff like that. Because Eminem really didn't. You know, people keep saying Eminem blew up for his skill. He didn't blow up for his skill. He blew up for his gimmicks. You know what I mean? He did not make that money because he has technical skill.
Which is sad because he does
Yeah.
have technical
Yeah,
skills.
Yeah, he does.
It gets overshadowed though.
It was his, but that's his own fault. It's his own gimmicks. And his content was a gimmick. So you could listen to his records and not need to learn anything, not need to be bombarded. He never, did you know, like, think about this. Name me the song where Eminem rhymed about the difficulty of being a white MC on the underground, rhyming through Brownsville with Thurston Howe, all of these places he was really going to. Nah, that story was only important though when he could make a movie out of it though. You know what I'm saying? And over dramatize battle rap. I always say that because in the shit that he said in 8 Mile would not be a battle rhyme in any. I know that Craig G was there to help do the movie, but some of the shit he said would get him fucked up, and it would not get him a winning grade.
He also made battle rap seem a lot more dramatic than it really is.
Nobody was insulting shit like that and saying personal shit like that in a battle rap.
And also the events weren't as big. It wasn't like this huge crowd with everybody going like this. No, it was like 20 dudes in a room, no bitches as far as the eye could see, no beat. You know what I mean? It was basically just a dozen.
Yes. The real underground that was developing in the late 90s, 2000s was we would go to basements that I had to duck.
Yo, dead ass.
Right? Where the pole, the piping was like, I remember
bottles in the basement from
we go down to a basement, I forget where we was, and it was a whole show. It was a lot of people there. Real notoriety, guys known. And it was like, yo, they were like, because yo, Sunez, duck your head. I was like, are you kidding me? I have to duck my head? Like, what is this? I'm 5'4". What are we ducking our head for? And I was like,
Oh shit.
I'm walking like this into the club area, right?
The club. When I used to throw battles, we had Breezy Brewing hosted the first one, right? And it was in the basement of this Moroccan restaurant after hours when the kitchen was closed.
Yo, you were so embedded in that scene though, God, too. Like, you know. It was dirty though. It was dirty as hell. And mind you, right, during that time, police stopped a lot of events. So like we actually
That's a fact.
because they were on the thing where like whatever they were looking for, weed, guns, or other drugs, they knew it's a hip hop event. I'm gonna get some collar in there.
Yeah.
So we would have to be like, yo, we have to leave. You know what I'm saying? And we would get scattered though. Very rarely I finished watching the show during that time because all my money was being used to buy records. I only cared about buying every album that ever existed. Then, when I went to a show, it wasn't going to be a guy that was notoriety because I had no money left. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And a lot of the press, though, you'd be surprised, the real press that we was doing, they did not respect our press pass. Unless you was a fucking pop media guy, they didn't respect no press pass. So, the Source magazine gets 1 million freelance writers to write the whole damn thing, and only the 5 editors go into the place.
Yeah, that's crazy.
None of us get press passes. None of us get shit.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So how we don't get to go anywhere? And I'm like, I'm a writer.
Yeah, so's everybody else.
Yeah.
Back in line.
Tell your story walking. You know what I mean? Like we don't.
Go right over there.
Yeah, we get no respect. What am I gonna do? Hold a magazine? See that real small print? That's my name there.
That's my name, Dan.
And
It's fucked up.
you know, it's really whack. Like you don't get no press pass or nothing like that. They're getting only the editors are getting press passes though. So they didn't look out for the freelance. So the whole world of people that was really in the street getting the story, they're not getting any love and shit like that. You know what I mean? So these shows weren't monumental big like that. They became big because battle rap became big. Shout out to, PH, remember the Perfection of PH and others like that, that they catapulted it and made it like a popular thing to follow. You know what I mean? And then shout out to people like great album makers like Immortal Technique, that they cradled, that they were in both worlds, so they were introducing us that love the recorded music and say, yo, Immortal Technique is... Remember there was a reign where Immortal Technique was destroying everybody. Everybody.
Yo, you know who used to be real fun to watch battle? Swave Sever.
Yeah.
He was,
he
was sick
MC
with that shit.
That we still his stuff really, his stuff really should translate to album stuff, but it hasn't. He hasn't made albums. But during that whole reign, like I said, I remember when I did one of my magazines was La Voix Revolt, and I went to Hunter College though, and I was on a panel as a journalist, and I was saying something about commercialism, and I started doing my commercialism rant. This is 1997, 1998, so it still was controversial. I did my whole rant how commercialism stuff reached a peak of destruction because of Puffy and what Biggie did and their pop A side, commercial B side. And I used to always get the argument that, no, it's Biggie, he didn't ruin hip hop, it's all Puffy's fault. But Puffy makes good music that we like. Like, you want it both ways. I can't criticize it and I can't say it sucks. The sample game was destroyed. I love My Life, Mary J. Blige's album. It's an anthem record for every black woman and brown woman at the time.
But he also killed
what I'm saying?
criticism.
But remember, the sampling on My Life was so basic that it ruined the sample game.
But he also ruined the criticizing game, right?
Yeah.
Because they before
Yeah.
it was like, yo,
Oh,
shit
right,
is
right.
whack. It was okay to say
there was a
that
thing
shit is whack, and
there
then
was
all
a
of a sudden
thing-
overnight it was like, nah, you
There was
play
a
it.
thing that they pumped into the media because, again, the leeches. The journalist leeches that leeches onto the leeching artist. They set up a propaganda that if we don't support the black artists that are blowing up, the Diddy's, we don't have Jay-Z's, we don't have criticism. If we criticize them too hard, we will ruin our culture and then it won't continue. Right? So that's always, especially the Source, they always had this thing like, if we don't support the hip hop the correct way, hip hop won't continue. It's really us that are making it continue, because people don't see it as a viable culture and music. You know, me, I always was on some fuck that shit. I never cared for that argument though, because I'm seeing all the poor people sacrifice all their dough to make great music, and they're not doing that. So that narrative was like, if I criticize stuff, I'm stopping black excellence, you know, to use a later term that people come up with to make it make sense.
Isn't criticism
You know what I'm saying?
an integral
Yeah.
part of hip hop?
And
Isn't
that's
that
the thing.
literally what a
But
battle is?
That's what came about in the magazines, and you couldn't criticize
crazy.
stuff, but you could bomb out an underground record or some bullshit like that, because, you know, they don't have a career anyway. You know what I mean? You could bomb let's say Public Enemy, because he's past due, he's not a runner and a shaker. And that's, by the way, the real reason that these magazines like The Source and them started to do their top 30 most influential. They didn't do that for us readers. We didn't give a shit if he was a top A&R in this record label and he has a power ranking of 5 and 4. That was for them to be bloodsuckers with research and catalog. So they turned the magazine into a way for them to make money and for them to literally have their own algorithm set in stone. The fucking top 30 industry shit was their algorithm, and using the magazine pages for them to know who do we fuck with and who we don't.
Does that
You know,
is that
it was
how
all stake shit.
Is that how the music industry really survives, to have someone like you know, talking about M80, fucking Glad TV,
To make the money that, to make the kind of money that, I'm gonna say it like this, to make the money that Planet Asia deserves.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So
You know what I mean?
so
That-
the culture bullshit is necessary, basically. We're saying, or you're saying,
Yeah.
You gotta remember too,
Sometimes.
like,
the culture bullshit is necessary.
No.
white people are weird, right? And they need a buffer. And you look at me and you can tell I have real life experience with this, right? They need a buffer to feel safe. You know what I mean? So like, when we just go and me and you go somewhere, and mind you, I grew up on I'm
right.
militant as
Yeah.
fuck too. I make him look like a sellout. Like, I'm militant as fuck. Right? Like, you gotta understand, like, I grew up with my mom quoting Chuck D records at me, you know what I'm saying? So, but if me and you go somewhere together and we meet some white person, he's gonna talk to you through me because I make him feel safe, right? Because they're not actually doing the knowledge to, well, what is actually going on here? Who are these actual people? All they're gonna see is they're gonna think I'm like Italian or some shit, right? Maybe you could be Sicilian?
Yeah.
Probably
You know
not.
What?
Probably not.
You know, what I was,
But you get what I'm saying. Like, they're gonna go through me as like, this is the buffer
Yeah.
zone, this is the safe zone. So they need like the Vlad TVs and the this person and that person because well, if he's safe
So
over there, then I'll be safe over there.
no,
They're
I will
oil-
say
they're
this,
oil that makes
as
it go-
far as
continue.
journalism though, we don't need any of these journalists though. I don't want to see, you know, do your A&R or whatever. We don't need Rosenberg. We don't need Vlad. We don't need any motherfucker that's in any magazine. We don't need the entire staff of BET. We don't need, and we know people that are in there. We don't need the entire staff of the Source magazine. We don't need any of them, no. We need people that write the way I do. That write the way I do and are actually putting the music in some kind of context. Because when we go into jazz music though, we have writers like a Ted Jiwa and others that put stuff in a context that is not found in any of the writing that they do. No, I do not need to know the shit that they say constantly. You know what I mean? I don't need to know the updates of what this guy likes. You know what I'm saying? So we get articles.
Word.
We get constant articles about the same people and their likes and dislikes. You know what I'm saying? We get constant articles about opinions of people. They don't write about Method Man's work. They write about, now, like we're a celebrity of quality, like Method Man. They don't, you know, there's never been an article about Method Man's Tikal athletics that I see regularly in the big magazines. He has to get other, I'm talking about our stuff, our hip-hop magazines and stuff. What you see is Method Man says that the old people, that he don't want to perform for young people, that the Hot 97 shit.
And that was a big story.
Right, that was a big story.
I couldn't
though.
get away from that one.
Right? Mind you, not knowing that the way he does the Tikal athletics though and the way he does all the shit, he's very in touch with the youth. I hear constantly be like, yo, I want to get ripped like meth, though. I've heard that constantly from people that...
Dude, you see teenagers walking around with Wu-Tang t-shirts all the time.
All the time. And you know that they frequent the shows crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is like, it's the so-called media from us though, or the hip-hop media, whether it's black, brown, yellow, white, they all generally fail. You know what I'm saying? They all generally fail, you know? I say that though because what I do, and where I'm at, places like OG Press and other places, I'm the standard bearer. The way I'm doing it and the way the others with me doing it is the way it should be done. You know? Everybody else is out for a fucking a clickbait story. And look, the places I said, go ask them what they want. They'll tell you, no, Sunez, I do it different. Yeah, you do it different. You go for clickbait. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's my question about
You go for clickbait. If the pop rapper, if Kanye West falls down the stairs, that's a story.
But
You know
here's
what I'm
my
saying?
question about that is, how much of that is on the journalist as opposed to like, you know, just people want that.
It's a whole...
It's like a symbiotic
Yeah,
thing.
it's a whole evil synergy.
Because people like...
However though, for hip hop, I was there when these things were invented. When these kind of gimmick writings were invented. You know what I'm saying? I was there when they made gimmicks of people, when they belittled people's careers. You know? I was there when certain topics were made. We're gonna say Tupac's an entertainer to explain the story that we're saying Biggie's the GOAT. You know what I mean? I was there for that story. I was there in there, and them telling me that. With no proof that Tupac has zero MC skills. Is this what you think is different? You know what I mean? So like when we describe like, and you could, they made it work, right? Because Biggie is more technically gifted by a lot, right? He's more technically gifted, right? But they didn't take into songwriting, inflections, stylistics, that those are all part of the techniques. They gave no framework. There's no framework at all. Because the music writing of hip hop was not based on musical writing. Like it was not based on musical writing. It was based on temperature writing. This hot beat, cold beat, fresh beat. Go through the majority. Read source magazines. There is very little actual music writing. They write about temperatures. Music is described as different temperatures. This is fire. He had another banger.
It's just like that.
You know what I'm saying? There was nothing there. If we took everything and gave it a summary of what was going on, so there was no real ethos of what was said. The best that we could do in hip hop journalism was that they were telling the stories of the people, right? And for that, the best journalists that were in hip hop were mainly following the Gay Talese model. You know, was fictional journalism.
Wait, what you mean fictional?
Fictional journalism. In other words, you're telling a true story, but as a fiction piece. And that was the best art that you would get from a lot of the writers, you know what I mean, that were there. Like, I'll give you an example. People that came up that became great music writers, like a Miles Marshall Lewis, incredible writer. His writings in the source don't have the musicality for hip hop, because he was younger, maybe, right? But when you read his book, say, he wrote a book about Sly and the Family Stone's Riot album. Right?
Okay.
That's my favorite.
A whole book about that album?
Whole book about that album.
That's crazy.
There's a series, 33 and a third series, where they write books about only one album.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And
that band
some of them are good, some
crazy.
of them aren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Led Zeppelin's 4, like they have, check out the series, that's dope. But when I read that one, when I read the Sly and the Family Stone book they wrote, man, I was taking notes. This is incredible music writing, the details, the descriptions, the research. You know what I mean? So a lot of people that were in hip hop, they were great Gay Talese writers. They got the stories beautifully written, but musically they didn't really know how to break down the music yet. You know what I'm saying? That led people to say, we go for the story, and that's the main thing. You don't need to break down lyrics, nothing like that. Lyric writing, like writing about the lyrics, is horrid in the history of music journalism, in hip-hop music journalism. They don't break down any lyrics, they don't know what the hell it means. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and certain artists too, like to explain why they ill, you gotta break, there's a lot more than just the lyrics. Like to explain why Rakim is ill, That's a whole math lesson in geometry.
Like
that's not.
the slang, the way he's coupling it together, everything.
But
You know
just
what I mean?
the physicality of how the shape of the actual shape of the word
Yeah.
is and how it goes
Yeah,
into each other.
exactly.
Like that is a straight up geometry
These
lesson.
things were rarely, if never, really analyzed. That's why I used to always say when I'm writing a science on music, because I wrote whole dissertation shits analyzing the way a guy's doing something, you know? But if you don't do that, you never miss it. You think it doesn't even belong. You think I'm doing some kind of freak show when I write about hip hop. You go for the story, and then the story mutates and dilutes into, you know what? Kanye West says that Fruit Loops is better than Tricks. That is some bullshit. And then you got a story. You know, so a lot of bullshit stories end up becoming a story. People's opinions about other things.
So more like
You know?
reality
Yeah.
TV. Reality TV kind
Exactly.
of
You know what I mean? So like it'd be a greater pit, like
popcorn entertainment.
yeah. So
And
like
that's dangerous
what becomes
too,
a
yo.
great story?
That's
like
real
you know,
dangerous.
you know what's a story?
Yeah.
You know what's a story? Snoop Dogg and what he thought about breaking. But they don't even get that story. They'll do a fluff piece about Snoop Dogg and like, oh, he had such a great time. You know what I mean? So hip hop journalism is as fluff as what Snoop was. What you saw, what you saw Snoop do
we need
is
the
hip
fluff,
hop
though?
journalism.
Do we just like do we need the culture bullshit? Do we need the fluff?
We don't, but we're gonna have them anyway.
To
'cause we have
generate
Snoop.
income.
The
Hip-hop,
generate-
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
hip-hop
like,
has
you know,
I
superstars.
think the reality is
Right?
that real music fans of
Yeah.
any genre are in the extreme minority.
Yeah.
The extreme minority is
Yeah.
real music fans.
See, what I don't like though is that hip hop has stars. Rap music has stars. They sell out, or they made great music like Snoop. That has stars. It has bullshit stars that make lesser music and are blowing up. So everything gets coverage. So rap is gonna get coverage no matter what. But what I'm saying is like when the journalism tries to include the quality artist and equalize the quality artist with the bullshit artist. You know what I'm saying? And put them on the same plane. Like Hip Hop DX does all that. And I could say that because I wrote for them though. And they rejected a lot of stuff I threw them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff that I threw them. You know what I mean? I threw them a lot of guys I mentioned before they blew up. And they said, no, they're not really worthy. They don't have enough videos. They don't have enough this. You know what I mean? But they are they really started the trend of trying to write presentable. I don't write quality. Presentable journalism, where that means that it accidentally breached into quality. Presentable journalism.
And we reach into quality.
Yeah, I'm a motherfucker here, right? You know what I mean?
It's a good thing you know how to fight.
Presentable journalism, where they would try to equalize a Sean Price with a trap rapper or you know, whatever the hell was out. Give me a bullshit artist.
What I don't like is they try to have the rapper
Like that's all rap.
overshadow the
You know what I
rap.
mean?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think that the artist should ever overshadow the art. Like, you know how they say, like, never meet your idols?
You know what's funny? The hip hop only publications, their writing increases because the white music publications of a general, like Rolling Stone, Pitchfork, they write better quality reviews and journalism than the hip hop media, so that they try to amp it up and try to fight to stay in the same course. Because you'll see a pop rap review in Rolling Stone that is written better than the shit in the Hip Hop DX. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Now for stuff that I think is all lesser on all fronts though. You know what I mean? On all fronts. You know? I think it's weak on all fronts though. And mind you, I'm saying that because I could prove I got better shit. You know what I mean? And I set a standard that's higher than that. You know? So I could Jordan this whole shit and laugh at everything. I'm Jordan I'm Jordan with the pad going. You know what I mean? But at the same time, this is what ruins a lot of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? The journalism. Now, you know, going back full circle with the A&Ring and stuff like that, you know, venturing into these worlds though, look at like you were talking about promotion and me, like, I don't even spend time doing that. I don't have the time to do that. Like, if you think about the things I do that have nothing to do with the money that I really bring in, which is the work I do in schools and stuff like that, right? I have to end up writing books, making music, teaching students, because that doesn't end after Thursday. It's all week I have to do this. You know what I'm saying? Then I tell people to text me and they go, yo, is it a good time? Then I have countless people that send me their math and go, peace to the God. Hit me now.
I don't think I've ever asked you if it's a good time.
I get that. I get that all the time.
I hate that.
I get that all the time. And I know you get that.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
like, yo, I understand, but like, I don't know you.
Who are you?
Like I did that.
Who are you?
I did that. I hadn't seen the whole message, and I did that. Peace of God. I did that to S18 because I only saw part of his message, and I was so used to doing that. I was like, yo, who are you? But I didn't realize that he gave me a whole message explaining things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And he knows I gave him the apologies and all that, and it was a great build we had. But you get so used to seeing that. So what I'm saying is like, I do all that. Then I got kids though. I want to do shit with them. I don't want to do shit with you. You know? Like I was telling her, my kid, she wants to do music and stuff like that. Yo, I want to make fun beats and songs with her. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to hear your whole story about shit. You know what I mean? And I do want to build, but if people DM me, give me some background. Like, don't go peace. Because peace is like a 5% way. Like, if you just leave it like that on DM, isn't that the same like when a girl gets a DM, goes, yo. Like, yo, it's the same thing.
It's the
like,
WYD, right?
Yeah, what are you doing? I'm like, what's the subject here? What are you talking
What are
about?
you talking about?
I get that all the time, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I want to build. I just don't want to waste your time, and I certainly don't want to waste mine. But
that just seems like just the nature of
so
the game.
like with all that time though, I don't have time to say how can we. Like in my mind, I'm like, how can I fiscally do something that I'm not good at anyway? So you end up doing the things that you're great at and continue that. But
I'm just saying like.
With the artists,
having a team to do that.
They do so much already for themselves. If they can have somebody just help with the negotiations, get them into bigger rooms, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Like a guy, I talk about Planet Asia because Planet Asia is the God. His records are not great, and then they became just good and continuing. It's the opposite. They were good, worthy. And then after the Muggs album he did, they shot up.
And he's been really consistent.
Right? They shot up. So every record you're going to hear something fantastic. Like a Planet Asia album, you're going to hear at least 7-8 records that are monumental. Like you're going to, if it's a full album. So you get like 4 or 5 songs where like, yo, can't believe he said that shit. So for the kind of money that he deserves for that, you kind of have somebody that continues to need pushing. Because in the industry, when you're a great MC, other people don't know MC that pay, that have money, so they don't know that, and this guy makes better records just because not everybody's buying them or knows about them. This next one is better. Or no, there's no one out there to say, hip hop does something now that other musics have never done consistently. The older an artist gets, the better their work gets.
Yeah, that's kind of been
That's
weird
the
the
thing.
last few years. It's really a grandpa genre now, yo.
Sean Price was the first one to really be a superstar like that. You know what I'm saying? Where we were like, he's older, but man, monkey bars and all that was Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, for me, was such a personal pinnacle. You know what I'm saying? Because I was around Sean Price when it came out, and the comedy he had, the way he was telling me, yo, wait till the release and what I'm gonna do in this show. Like, he was telling me, yo, I'm gonna bug out in this one. Like, it was such a peak of his charismatic abilities and his, everything. So, but he was better than, it was way better than Helter Skelter, like what he was as an MC in that. That rarely happens. Like, that was the assumption. I took a music class, just a music standard class in college, and the guy argued with me, because I didn't have an argument, I just hated the concept. So I had a bullshit argument. I was just a kid, and I just hated the concept, and he was white, so I didn't respect his music opinions. No, I was really like that. No, I'm saying how petty I was, though, right? right? Because I'm radicalized. I was like, yo, you're white. You don't know about like.
Who invited you to this party?
How are you to talk about hip hop? So he was saying that artists in general, all genres, their best works are when they're young. You have the best works are when they're young, and he would name like Led Zeppelin or this or all type of genres. Aretha Franklin, like he was naming all people that we know that they had plateaus when they were young, like incredible records, right? But I was like, no, it's bullshit. In my mind, like, yo, I'm always gonna be nice, whatever I'm doing. I hate that concept you saying. I'm always gonna be nice. So I was disagreeing with him. But in general, music has gone that way. And music has gone that way, not because it really is that way, but because they toss people away. Right? Soul music, right? We used to talk about soul music, the Manhattans, the main ingredient, the Delphonics, all the D&Ms, right? Dramatics, the Delphonics, the Dells. All of these groups have a young career. 3 incredible albums for the Dramatics, Delphonics, right? Like you see a chunk in late 60s, 75, it's over, right? But that's because record labels tossed them. They never were not able to sing. You know what I'm saying? They tossed them. They didn't give a shit anymore about them. They were like, you know what? You guys couldn't eclipse the Temptations. So we're not letting you fight them anymore. And honestly, some of their records are better to me than, let's say, the Temptations, right? So as albums. So in hip hop, we're making records and we don't give a fuck. We're not gonna die on the hill. We're gonna keep making records. So we go indie. And now guys that are supposed to be dead in the industry doing different jobs, we put more records out. People like Buckshot, they don't want the label to die. We're gonna keep making records. So now you see Sean P making records and like, that shit was credible. Then other guys that are like Planet Asia and others, you know, a lot of guys like Prince Power Rule, his albums now destroy what he made when he was young. That one album he made, in, you know, Smooth. Remember Smooth, the single and the album? Yeah. His records are beyond that now. He knows so much more. He has so much more command. It's like that with all the MCs. They make better records now that they're older. You know what I'm saying?
You learn a lot just through
writing. Yeah, because it's writing. It's writing.
And it's with any instrument.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just learn more about what it is that you're doing. Like
and unless you know, and even the physicality of MCing, most of the MCs could still master that ability. You know what I'm saying? They could still, and for recorded music, they could punch in cleverly enough that if they didn't have the breath control, they still could make the music. Look at, you have resurrections that never, careers that never came off but then became incredible, like Ka. Remember, Ka was Natural Elements crew, and he was very mid.
Oh shit, I forgot that part.
Very mid. Just a regular guy in the posse.
I forgot that he was,
But then he comes on a Jizza song, then he does his own record, Grief Pedigree, and the album is amazing. You know what I'm saying? Right? And I found him. I said, Ka, you're going to be a star. You know, I just found him. I knew he was going to be a star, but I didn't tell him that. I was going to go like that. But
you need a pinky ring.
I could have, though. I could have.
One of those rings going to have to
I need to get like a journalism pinky ring, though. You know, I found him first. I knew about him, you know. But now with Ka, though, I was in tune, and one of the guards actually told me, yo, you would like Ka. That happens a lot. People know what I like, so they're like, yo, you would like this guy. And then that's when I find him, though. You know what I mean? And I get the opportunity. Some guys I do find. So it's both. But
so it's more important to you to find them than as actually to keep following them.
Not really. The thing is, I keep following them and writing about them. But sometimes I don't run to do another interview only because I feel like somebody else could really use it. And that's what keeps me going back, you know what I mean? To those who are not found yet. You know what I'm saying?
But also without Stretch and Bob anymore, somebody needed to.
You know what I
like that was a really necessary position.
You know what I used to call that though? The underground radio, right? Where radio or our forums used to have a graduation. So when Mos Def was on the radio, you knew then, boom.
Yeah.
Then he would be on radio. Umi Says the video was on BET.
So
you know what I'm
gonna
saying?
sell a lot of Nikes one day.
Guys would graduate. You know what I'm saying? But then the graduation became flawed or different. Like Doom, of course, Doom was debuted on Stretch and Bobbito because I remember I was falling asleep and I heard, hey! That shit woke me up. And I was like, what, Scooby-Doo? I immediately woke up. ill, crazy sample. I was like, yo, I woke up and I was like, oh, the shit is on record. What is? And I remember hearing, hey, the first Doom song, as MF Doom, and I was like, yo, this shit is incredible. But that would graduate, but the graduation was different. It was all these indie labels that have power. And again, it still was white people with money with the investments. The indie labels that blew up, they were mainly white money, but just more sincere white money. People that grew up with hip hop, so they were more hip hop.
So no, now.
Yeah.
Now,
look at Stone's Throw and others.
Let's look at the student enrollment, right? When we talk about capitalism, right? So you look at 103 million versus 17 million, right? So if you try to do the music career,
you kind of need them.
You need the 103 million to really. Do something like you.
Yeah.
Right?
But my bills always got paid in Germany.
The 2000s became the dark ages because a lot of our people that got power behind the scenes only cared about finding a pop star. Every time, especially Axe Day Sun, where we was at the source, that's all we saw. Black people looking for pop stars. When I was at the source though, I'll tell you people I pitched that were on the cusp that they really were blowing up. Doom. I got laughed at every magazine from 1999 to 2005.
Magazines didn't want to pick up Doom?
Nope.
They couldn't see that.
Go back.
That's a really big niche.
Go back. There's no features. There's no feature piece on MF Doom.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The entire history of Double XL and Vibe in the source.
And that's
all those years.
Fucking niche.
And I got laughed out the building. And the last time I got laughed at, I was like, I was an editor, so I thought I had more say. I was like, he's on your fucking TV at night. He's on Adult Swim every night right now.
Yo,
I was at the source when he was on Adult Swim. I was like, he's on fucking TV. Can I get a fucking page?
Dude, he changed the whole culture of cartoons.
By 2005, I had the argument that he was changing everything, and he was monumental, a certified cult classic with Mad Villain, right? I still got nothing. Jean Grey. I pitched Jean Grey. Nothing. I pitched a lot.
And that's sad too.
Yeah.
Because she was hot.
Jean Grey was the Rhapsody of that time.
Yeah.
Right? If we could correlate.
She was good fucking looking. I had a crush on her when I was 16.
She looked gorgeous on the album cover.
Beautiful. And she was nice.
She had 2005 when I pitched her. She had the album produced by Ninth Wonder.
I remember that.
And she had. Like in comic books, she had cover variants where she recreated a different album. So one of them was Cuban Links, and her and Ninth Wonder were like this. They did Das Effects album, if you remember.
Yeah,
they did the different variants. Like it was, I was
set
the
legacy too.
Yeah, it was set the
bone.
She had a long career already. Yeah,
that could have been like a very mainstream thing.
What was the crew that she was in with PH? Bad Seed, all of them.
I forgot what that crew was called, but they was all dope.
Yeah. So, they were incredible. She was incredible. I would pitch guys like that, and they still said they weren't good enough. You know? So, at the end, that's why they gave me the best of indie, because they was like, give me something.
But, I don't like when they do, indie should not be a sonic thing, especially with something that is intentionally
I had to take what I could get.
But you get what I'm saying? It's like, hip-hop in general is intentionally countercultural.
Yeah.
Right? That's why the slang is constantly getting updated, right? Because it's intentionally countercultural. If it was not intentionally countercultural,
it was intentionally.
No, I'm saying if it wasn't, then Reagan would have got a fucking gold medal at the Olympics, right? But that's not how that works. It is intentionally countercultural. So you can't just to even say indie hip hop is almost like an oxymoron or redundant.
For me, I take it that way.
Yeah.
And I write about it that way because that on the top mainstream is not the music.
Yeah, and it's
that's the mutation. This is what it is. You know?
And that's always been weird to me.
I've always written with that sense of arrogance, you know?
Just be happy you're not a punk rock fan.
He always say that to me.
You think you're crying over hip hop.
Yeah. Yeah, because at least I'm saying that this is what it is, not that. This still exists.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm happy about that. I'm always happy about it. I argue for hip hop and I'm so militant against what's whack, But people don't understand that when I'm on my own, like by myself and stuff, I'm have whole days where I can enjoy new records that are great, like a whole day. Like tomorrow, I'll be playing with my kid, I'll be training, then playing with my kid, and writing and enjoying dope albums for hours until until they interrupt me and tell me they're hungry. My girl, you know what I mean?
And then you can listen to music while you're cooking.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and I tell them, yo, listen to this. I be doing that all the time. Listen to me. Yeah.
You realize what's gonna happen as a result. Let me prepare you.
Yeah.
This happened to me.
Well, you know,
they're gonna listen to the most commercial pop bullshit when you're around.
My oldest loves K-pop, pop singers.
Oh,
and when she was young, I made her write an essay why she should listen to Taylor Swift, and she wrote a good essay.
That's
and after that, I let it go. She wrote an essay why she should listen to Taylor Swift. And I like Taylor Swift, though. I actually like a lot of the songs she makes. You know what I mean?
Delete that part.
Yeah. That's gonna be this is teaching at the school?
That's gonna become the new TikTok shit, right? You're gonna hold that in his pocket, you piss him off one day. That's going on TikTok.
There are albums, though. There's a documentary. I go in, God. I told you, I'm obsessed with listening to everything. Some of her newer albums, including the ones that are about, I think it's called Folklore, that she did a documentary for. They were released during 2020, 2021. Those particular albums where her songwriting is more country and the albums are more country folk. They're very well written albums. So she can songwrite. Even though she can make a nice jingle, shake it up jingle.
I'm gonna have to take your word for
You know
that.
what I mean?
I'm not gonna
No. I'm saying, yeah. But I got girls though, and they like that. So I'd rather have my girls listen to something and find the musicality in that than me be almost all the time, because I am most of the time.
Yeah.
Go, because I do this all the time. I was just doing it yesterday. You need to listen to the real singers. I literally said that. You need to listen to the real singers. Because my daughter wants to sing, so I keep telling her, you need to listen to the real singers. You need to listen to some more Phil Hyman, Anita Baker, you know what I mean? Aretha Franklin, like I do that all the time. And he goes, what about new ones? And I'm like, how about her? How about Cleo Soul? You know, I got new ones too, so they can't even.
You know who's a really good singer?
Jump on that.
On too, because this range is crazy. So there's this band from however many years ago. They're called Screaming Headless Torsos. Their music does not sound like they are called Screaming Headless Torsos.
Yo,
and it's like a mix of like
that
jazz,
merengue punk band.
Yo, Angel in Brooklyn is crazy, right?
Yeah, that shit was
Yeah, we
fire.
doing an event with them hopefully in October.
I just love the idea because the merengue pace is perfect for punk.
Yeah.
It's the same tempo, yeah.
It was crazy too because with the last show that we did with them.
The Perico Libiao tempo is dope for that.
Oh, and you see people in a mosh pit to that shit too. It's crazy.
That's hilarious.
It's like you'll see like some people dancing merengue and then some people just moshing. And it was ill because the last show that I did was with them.
That's funny.
And like we're like saying peace to each other after the show, and me and the guido player and the guy who plays tambora, we're like, yo, you guys are just like us, just a different island. It's same.
Yeah,
and we got hyped, so we're gonna be doing hopefully it turns into a series.
It's so crazy, yeah.
Punk and Plantains, yo.
You know, I always miss your shows. Yeah, I always miss your shows. I need to get to one, man.
Yeah, you'll have fun with that shit.
I
We're gonna start doing some
real. You're a show by itself.
Yeah,
like
right.
I have fun with you by yourself. Like, you know.
Yeah, I got it. I gotta find the text. I have it on record. I'm the only person who raps about sex that he can actually listen to a full song of without going, this is too much fucking personal information. I don't need to hear this.
Where I'm actually interested because it always goes somewhere else it's not supposed to go. You know what I mean? And I mean that in the figurative and literal sense. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because sex rapping is not supposed to be sexy. It's supposed to be stand-up comedy. Like when I'm rhyming about sex, I'm not like Redman is probably the only MC that I could say will give me any type of influence.
Ghostface could do it too. Ghostface, yeah. But
yeah. Well, I mean, if Ghost is not one of your influences, are you really an MC?
Ghostface is a like, yeah, that's true, right? All of us.
Yeah, like if you're born after a certain year, if
Ghostface does the sexy raps, he does the relationship raps. You know,
he's a rare exception.
Yeah, no, he's really rare.
But
Tupac used to have it too, though.
If you're rapping about sex, I feel like your main influence should be Rudy Ray Moore. Like that's who you're supposed to be. Yeah, because it's pimp shit. Yeah. Like that dude, Legendary Baller, he's fucking hilarious. I could listen to like a solid hour of his music. Yeah. Right?
Nah, but real, you're emceeing is entertaining as hell.
But you know, I'm going for the stand-up comedy aspect of it because I don't bust guns and I don't sell crack. You know what I mean? Like
it's dope, yeah.
So
You know, I've always found it dope. You know?
But yeah, we're gonna be doing some stuff too, like with a couple rock artists and some hip hop artists, because I'm trying to push Rakim back on stage. Because I'm like, yo, everything.
You know, that's the whole thing I asked though, and if people see this though, maybe they could petition to see if Rakim, you know, MCs at the event. You know, what I mean,
He said he was not gonna do it.
first. You know,
Yeah, we
that'd
gotta
be
start
great.
pushing some of our friends here to do
I'm
the
not.
shit that they
I
love,
have
yo.
one argument, but I don't want the argument to be thrown back at me.
What's that?
Because the argument is that, you know, it'd be great to see, you know, someone that teaches at the school who rhymes, and but then I don't want that to be me. You know?
So no, we was thinking like so you hosting it, right? Are you gonna like kind of like throw a little bit of stuff in there, little here and there?
I'm gonna host where it's me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna host where it's me. You know?
Hosting is a weird gig too.
It is, yeah.
Because it's like you're emceeing the night, but it's not about you.
Yeah.
And that's so opposite of how it
You know
feels
the
when you're
vibe.
emceeing.
You know whose vibe I've always liked though? What's his name that used to always be the MC in the old Fania days? You know what I'm talking about?
Probably, but what's the name though? I can't think of
I'm trying to think of his name. He did a lot of the album art too. He did the album art to Gran Fuga, the big break album for Willie Colon. Ah, damn it, huh? I wanna. He's real skinny. I'm trying to remember the name though, cause it's is he something? Shit, how am I forgetting his name?
I think I know who you're talking about.
He was
too.
a real ambassador for like what Southside really is, and he was just so well spoken but dynamic about it. He gave everything an epic turn. You know, because that's what when you introduce someone, epic turn, and I think that's a lot of MCs like me to host their shows because I give their introductions an epic turn because I write about them so much. I just kind of quote things, paraphrase things that I've said about them.
Cypher Sounds introducing Kid Capri at that show on Saturday. He goes, "We got a DJ coming. He's pretty good," and then walks up stage. He's pretty good.
Yeah. Welcome to the Rick and Morty
Yo,
school of,
He's pretty good. No, but it was hilarious
Yeah,
because nobody saw it coming.
Good MC here. Yeah.
No, nobody saw it coming. So when he was like, "Yeah, we got a DJ. He's gonna do a thing." He's pretty good.
Izzy Sanabria, that's what it was.
Okay. Oh, speaking of Sanabria, my coworker was bumping some Bobby Sanabria.
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
the fucking office today.
Yeah, he was going charanga, right? Yeah, he had the flute stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, she's super into his stuff. I'm like, yeah, he used to be in my house all the time. Probably wouldn't recognize me with all his facial hair.
By the way, I don't know if you know this, Scott. You know, because he doesn't say it though, but you're from a musical family though.
Yeah.
His father, Frank Malave, was one of the great congueros, right?
You know the mural on 110th Street in the 6th train station on the uptown side? And it's three dudes and they're playing bata, they got the white on with the red scars.
Vaguely, I'm
the brown seed one with the smallest drum, that's my pops.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
He played on a lot of great albums I have.
Yo, I sent you that thing. I found his resume. Like, what the fuck?
And I had already known when I first.
Yo, I didn't even know some of that shit.
I was like, wait, Frank Malave. I was like, wait a minute. He played on a lot of Tito Island records.
Yeah.
You know? And see, he Tito Island was so unsung.
Yo, that.
And a lot of it because the sonero, the singers, they had a lot of colorism in the way they would sell them. And he was, he was black, so he had, he looked visibly.
Did I ever show you that the La Playa Sextet album cover? And it's my pops on the album, right? Mm-hmm. And that was how I noticed it. And then I started looking at everybody else's face. He's on the record, and then I'm looking at the cover, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? It's like a guy with a similar body type.
It's like if they look too black, Fania was fronting, Like LeBron brothers.
Yeah.
There's a whole crew of brothers. They were dope. But the lead singer Pablo, well, he looked like all the other brothers. So Yeah, I'm glad that they stood their ground because he was dope. He could sing, man.
That's why certain songs themselves, like Caras Lindas, is so important because it's like, yo, fuck
and they
the dumb
couldn't stop.
shit.
They couldn't. Fania couldn't fuck with Ismael Rivera because he was a star before.
Yeah, what are you really gonna do with that?
You can't stop him. He's a star already.
Go somewhere else.
And it's funny.
Fuck that.
I feel like people like Ismael Rivera and Peter Conde Rodriguez, they were able to go far, even though that they were darker, because they were really handsome. It's always a thing. If you're really handsome,
Yeah, he was
if you're
smooth looking,
not
bro.
so handsome, you better be light skinned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a real thing. That's a real thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know. But yeah, you know,
History's
like
fucked up that
my
way.
father was on so many dope records, though, man. Shit.
Which is why I tell people do music for love and not money. I grew up on welfare. Like real shit.
God damn.
Grew up on welfare. Motherfuckers would run up to him in the street for an autograph, but I gotta go to the food to get food with food stamps. Like, chill.
Yo, Fania didn't pay the artist though. Hector Lavoe wasn't even paid properly, and he was the star.
Well, that's why he ended up working. That's why my pops ended up working so much with Larry Harlow, because Larry Harlow was also real.
No,
like,
Larry
yo,
Harlow.
you got kids to feed. Like
He
everybody
was a
gets
paid
everybody
band,
gets,
yeah. From what I learned, he was a paid band.
He
Yeah.
paid everybody a fair wage, and
Yeah.
like my mom used to sing
So
praises.
yo,
at
salsa
the
was a
household.
real brutalized
Yeah.
industry. Like they really ruined the music, the industry. You know, I remember one of my favorites is Angel Canales. I love the way he sings, and I remember he quit when by throwing his compositions into the water. He was like in the beach and he threw them away because he couldn't get his band the right money. And one of his arguments was because he had I forgot what instrument. I think it was piano or something. He had a sister that was in the band, and they didn't want to pay her the same rate that they paid the
Yeah, they was doing people dirty back then.
because she's a female and they didn't want to pay her the same rate. And he was like, nah, she's the fucking trumpet player. Like you got to pay the same rate. And they wouldn't do it.
That's why they ended up doing those like benefit concerts.
Yeah, like
in the '80s, there was that push to unionize.
yeah, it was real crazy.
Yeah,
It was
and,
real
and
crazy.
a lot of them, you know, was fiended out.
That's
So it's
true.
real easy to take advantage of somebody
True,
when they're
yeah.
not in their right mind, yo.
Look at the story of Cheo Feliciano.
Yeah.
The legend of his story was that he was, you know, he was a deadbeat coke addict, and then he fell off out of the Joe Cuba band. But then he got clean and he made a solo career that was legendary.
Yeah, it was.
Anacaona was his
Crazy
first
how, yeah.
major hit. Like shit.
It was crazy how a lot of them were just living at that time too.
Yeah.
Man.
But like hip hop
Nuts.
though, you know, people didn't see coke as like bad. They saw coke as like a fancy thing that you earned. Like it's a drug.
yeah,
that-
it's expensive.
Yeah. Right?
You can't be a bum if you
Right.
sniffing up all that money. It's like, that's not how
Like,
that works.
We earned it.
That's
We
not how
earned.
that works at all.
We're actually in the same way. We have coke. Like this is a
Yeah,
good thing. You know,
That's
they
not
didn't
how that
realize
works.
that.
Say no to drugs, kids.
Yeah.
I mean, Nancy Reagan never did, but
Right.
you should.
Yeah. Word.
It's a fucking.
See, now I'm gonna listen to my Tito Allen playlist.
That shit is
You know,
nuts. Pack it up, yeah.
It's crazy. So probably a little controversial, right? They're gonna quote me say I like Taylor Swift. That's gonna be controversial. They're gonna loop that though.
And then they're
You
gonna
know,
quote that part.
they're gonna loop it like
That's gonna get looped, and then it's gonna get played like next to you
they're
trying
gonna-
to legitimize Puerto Ricans.
They're
in
gonna
hip-hop.
shame me like the beginning of the De La Soul skit though. I kind of like Vanilla Ice. Remember, like what was it? I kind of like Hammer.
Shut up, Casnad.
Yeah. I love the way he dances.
Yo, controversy in general, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
hip hop, has always been a weird thing.
It is.
Like I had mixed feelings about applauding for Lord Jamar when Brand Nubian came out. And then I'm with my singer and he's like, you know, he don't like Puerto Ricans, right?
Oh shit.
Yo.
That
He
shit.
has got to, yo, you don't know how many like older breakers and all that, how much that they DM me now. You know what I'm saying?
But you know, I was talking to Omnipotent about this, right? And there's a part of this argument that's not being spoken about at all, that nobody's bringing up. And that argument is that for many Puerto Ricans, for many New Yorkers, we get assimilated into American.
INFMEGA did this.